Welcome back to the petting zoo. Jason Kaplan just sent his dog to make more dogs. That's right, we're raising an army. We got ZP on the mic alongside Kaplan for another battle of EU supremacy. It's Buff Enjoyers versus Abrahams, a battle as old as time. ZP, we have seen it 9 times. What's the current scoreboard? Well, I guess 8 times. This will be number 9.
I think now we have a 2-match lead for Buff Enjoyers. I think it's 5-3 at the moment. So BE is actually got a bit of a lead, which means they're well overdue for Abrahams to retake the throne. They're due by anyone's standards now.
Jason, for anyone who didn't understand your shot caller comment, would you like to elaborate?
Do you want me to elaborate? Because I don't know if we're going to hit some TOS here lines. If I do.
Production says no, move on with the show. Okay. If you guys are bored, scroll Twitter more often during the day like we do.
Solomon said do it.
Definitely do it. We got Buff Enjoyers, we've got Abrahams, we've got the rematch. We're not going to do a Mo 1v1 to decide this one. Abrahams will have the edge as the challenger. So ZP, what's the move as we head into our bans and protects? And before we even get there, what should we know about Abrahams as they match up against Buff Enjoyers? Let's take a look at the roster.
Well, as we take a look at the roster, I think the one thing you have to know is that Abrahams has a pretty long list of comfort heroes. I would say Jamside on the Infernus is one of them, especially now that Infernus is good. I think if you are Buff Enjoyers, you look to take that away, and you also look to deny any form of the Shiv Kelvin combo. Buff Enjoyers has been burned by that way too often over the last few months and going against Abraham. So one way or another, the draft is going to be manipulated that you don't get a game with Together on Shiv and Saint on Kelvin at the same time. In fact, I'm not sure Kelvin's going to get played this entire series because I think both teams are going to take the liberties of banning it if there's a threat of the other team taking it. That's where I have it.
Now we have Tasson the Paradox in the image. This is the player's favorite character. Is it going to be the best option in the current meta, Kaplan?
Can't answer that. Honestly, I don't really know. I don't think the players really fully know as well. I mean, it was coined as like some small balance changes, but honestly, it was just a lot of changes across the board with items, with heroes as well. If we're talking about like picking, like getting picks, yeah, I think Paradox can definitely stay as one of the top heroes if she's not the top hero for it, even though we've seen a lot of Bebop in recent weeks. But in terms of like strongest in this current meta, I think the only one we can kind of safely say when it comes to pro play is 100% going to be Kelvin. I don't think there's any argument around him being an S tier hero, even like S plus tier at the moment.
Let's take a look at the opposition for Abrahams. It's the returning champions, formerly known as Virtus Pro. They go by Buff Enjoyers. We got Sherik, Dimov, Listic, Obikim, Hoot, and Zergy. I want to start here with Listic. He showed me the Mina first. He busted out the Billy when we asked him to. He'll showcase any new hero. He's not afraid to do it in a championship match. What's his best, ZP? What would we want to see Listic on if you're a Buff Enjoyer fan?
Look, I think there's one answer to that, and one answer only, and that is Abrams. It is Listic's most signature hero of all time, and Abrams is still very top tier in this particular meta. It's going to be something that Buff Enjoyers is going to prioritize in their draft, but a second thing here would be the hero we have on the graphic currently for Listic and Calico. Listic used to have a really, really good Calico back when she was at her peak power in ages past, and her power may be back now. So if the draft ends up going away where Listic can't play something like an Abrams or a Billy, a Calico I think would be very likely for him to bring into the fray.
Zergy won a few MVP awards with his trackball playing 7. Do we expect him to veer off of that character tonight, Kaplan? What do you want to see Zergy play?
I mean, it for sure won't be 7. I mean, we didn't see him played at all in recent weeks, and then 7 got nerfed as well on top of that. So I don't think we'll see. You know what? I think I can. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to make a prediction that eventually could go wide. All right. I don't think we'll ever see 7 in the next few weeks. I don't think he has a place at the moment after being one of the most highly sought after heroes for such a long time. Months and months ago. But Zergy, I mean, what is he gonna play? I think I wonder if like Vipers maybe in his kit, though. Again, I think that would be more Hoot-esque, but I think Infernus might be legitimately one of the most contested heroes between the two teams outside of like your Pockets and your Kelvins.
ZP, you have been able to monetize Hoot's hard work and labor by creating the Hoot build and putting it on the internet. What should I expect from this big name streamer? If you're new to Deadlock, Hoot will be one of the names on top of the going live section constantly. So what should you know about this player? What are his best characters?
Hoot, I mean, generally speaking, it depends on which era, right? Where Hoot, I think, first made waves when he was a player for Maidong and was playing Bebop and had one of the scariest Bebops around at the time when Bebop wasn't really getting played a lot. But as time has gone on, Hoot has sort of become versatility man, where especially when there's changes to the meta, Hoot will be able to play basically whatever is needed and probably is one of the most flexible players, if not the most flexible player on the Buff Enjoyers roster now. And I would actually say if BE wants to run a Viper, I actually think it would be Hoot playing it in the same way that ABL was playing it for Abraham. So Hoot could be on alert to play something a little bit off the wall here today relative to previous weeks.
Zergy locks in Paige here, says Greggy. Will we see a Paige lose again? She has 0 wins in my presence. Did she win last week when I was gone, ZP? No, because she sucks. Paige never wins on the night shift. I just assume. I don't know. Kaplan, let's jump into this.
She got some buffs.
We got some bans coming as well. What's the Abraham's first move? They get rid of the Mina. Why is Mina getting out of the game back-to-back times for the Abrahams?
I think you saw Zergy last week in our player of the match. If you didn't check it out, you can go check it out over on our TikTok or on our YouTube. Our player of the match short from what exactly went down. His Mina play was stupendous. He was so hard to lock down with the cooldown on his Sanguine Retreat. Like he was around constantly with the Ethereal Shift as well. On top of that, very slippery hero, very high damage, even though they did nerf her damage to objectives. But she's the hotness right now.
So hot. So gone. Same with Kelvin, the icy boy, put in the freezer. Next selection will be the Abraham's first pick. ZP, look in your crystal ball. What do you go with?
Okay, it's Infernus.
Nailed it.
Yeah, I mean, this makes sense to me just because I think, as we kind of talked about, both teams really value the Infernus at the moment. I think there's no chance that with 2 consecutive picks, Buff Enjoyers would not pick the Infernus in turn. But now, BE, I think for sure they pick up the Abrams. The question for me is it paired with a Paradox? But Abrams, I think, is going to be going in this first round. They go Pocket, and that has to be for Hoot.
Someone put a blindfold on this Kaplan guy. I don't know what they're going for, but I'm into it. Some Harry Houdini shit.
Someone also won a
some
shot
historical pieces. I can see it. A shot caller on Jason is a different stream. That is after midnight. I know he's in Italy, but it's still Eastern time where I'm at. We got a good matchup underway as Shiv is going to be locked in by the Buff Enjoyers. Not going to risk it falling into the hands of Abrahams, but who's good with the Shiv on BE?
Who actually played it? I'm going to quickly check back because it was someone I didn't expect to play it last week when we had Buff Enjoyers. It was D-Mob playing it actually when they played against Abrahams last time, and they lost that match. I think, I mean, it has potential to be him. It has potential, I think, to be a couple of different players as well, though D-Mob's probably most likely. But one thing I really like about the ZP, though, with the Pocket and the Shiv, if you get a big affliction off, Q and do, as we saw last week, Shiv could easily pull off cleanup with the resets on Killing Blow. There's very high potential to just pull that off and just chain through the entire enemy team. But then again, I mean, D-Mob just didn't have the opportunity to get anywhere with it last week.
I think it was deeper than that, though, Jason. I think the reason why they're going Pocket Shiv, I don't think these are Buff Enjoyers' favored heroes in a vacuum. I think, though, they realize that ABL has done way better than expected at times on the Pocket, so they don't want ABL to play it. And when you look at comfort heroes, there's nothing more than Together and Shiv.
There's a Wraith? Third pick? What's happening?
Gun buffs.
She got some
Did the buffs come in? The buffs? Are they that big?
I mean, so she got her base bullet damage was increased. Her bullet damage growth increased as well. Or sorry, decreased. And I know Lightbringer, if you guys checked out his stream, has been cooking up some builds for Wraith in particular. So it doesn't surprise me too much, though. It seems like ZP, we've gotten back to some realm of normality within our picks because we didn't see Wraith forever. We didn't see Infernus forever. And now we're starting to see them picked more often.
I think what you're seeing here is that there's a higher priority on your carry heroes in a patch that has made carry heroes more effective, because Buff Enjoyers picking up the Wraith to me sort of signals you have no IV potential and no Infernus potential because they've gotten picked. They didn't want to risk Wraith getting banned in mid-stage bans and then being even lower in priority for heroes to put there. But it also means when you think about heroes that have gotten buffed that they don't value Mirage as highly in that role, because they also could have picked Mirage or had that as a fallback, but they decided they needed to pick the Wraith here now, and they grabbed the Doorman on top of it. This is a very different draft for BE than what we saw last week.
Rear is very upset that I'm not taking off my sunglasses. So in your honor, sir, I've returned the eye ability to come through my sunglasses and distract you from this next pick. Gun Ivy is going to be locked in. Nope, it's Yamato.
Can you look a little more down? Because I want to read these notes you have written.
Do you want to see it?
Jason Kaplan is awesome, but I need to stop bullying him.
Never stop bullying Kaplan. Keep him balanced.
Balance in all things. Yamato comes in for Abraham. What do you have on there?
Okay, these were all the names that we should call out for subbing. I've got a list of them. Should we read them now, or do you guys want to talk about this draft? Because it's real exciting. We should totally make it longer per pick, Solomon. Like 45 seconds per character.
Oh my god. I'm gonna take a quick nap then. Just wake me up when we're ready for the game.
Vindicta's real. For those who are wondering, it's like, oh, is Vindicta just getting played for spots? No, Abrahams wants to run it again, and it's probably going to be Saf on it with the rescue beam one more time. But you're wondering who's going to be playing what? Well, with Billy getting picked up, it's probably Listic on the Billy and Dimov on the Shiv. That makes sense to me as I look at the BE lineup here so far.
Is it Saf, though, on Vindicta when you have a Yamato as well? Because you have Together probably on Abrams. Unless ABL's going to be picking up the Abrams, which I don't want to see.
It also could be Together on the Yamato. Together had a period of time where Together is playing tons of Yamato.
So it's, I don't know. I think this is really cool. And we also, Puckett, hello, look at your screen.
Hi.
The Ginge is back. You'll see it. You'll see it. Don't worry.
So,
it's coming.
I know, but they're going to lose now. So let's just fast forward to map 3, shall we? No, I hate Paige. I hate people with 0% win rates. I was so against Victor until he got a dub. Drifter's still on my shit list. Paige is on the shit list. Who else is there, ZP? We got a few from a different game. Mantis, don't want to see her.
I feel like you're kind of like indirectly...
how once they're on the list, it's very hard to get off the list. You just look at those even if they're doing
suck
good,
forever.
It's not because of that.
When you say 0% win rate, I feel like I'm kind of indirectly being insulted here, by the way.
Why?
Because I have a 0% win rate?
No, you're really good. You told me earlier today that you were using the hoop build and you got a dub. You're at least at 50-50.
I have won 2 games in recent memory. Once against DDK, poor him, didn't get a single win in the game night. And then once, right before we got into the show.
Do you think DDK is out of all of us the most fake pro gamer? Because he has all the guides. Here's how you dial in your accuracy. Here's how you take care of your body and your mind.
No, Mitch is the most fake gamer because the first day I ever met him and played a game with him, he was the worst blitzcrank I've ever seen in my life in an ARAM on League of Legends. That it made me never want to play with him ever again. Yeah. But how do you miss hooks? He found a way.
Ooh. And a third person top down. Rough, Mitchell.
Jason, you gotta get to Mitch War. You have to give some respect on one of the best World of Tank players to ever exist. I don't actually know if he was one of the best players, but he did cast that game for a long time.
Are you kidding me? Oh my God.
The chat would like us to hone in on the Page being there for the shift. Is it a duo? If so, observers, let's dial in on that. The Doorman is always fun to watch for those who are like me and don't know what the hell Wraith does because she doesn't make it into comp in the most recent weeks. What should we expect from the pink hat fedora person, CP?
I think for Wraith is that her early game is a bit better now, but the biggest thing for her is that not only does she get a big benefit from the shop changes where if she invests in the gun items, she gets a better benefit towards the tail end. Spiritual Overflow also gives her everything she wants between the CDR, more gun damage, and more damage on the cards itself. So the buff to that item really helps quite a bit. So overall, I think Wraith got buffed on multiple ends. Is it worth that early of a pick in the draft? I guess we'll have to see.
Are Mo and Krill gone forever? We'll talk about that later. Right now, we've got 12 other characters locked in. It's Buff Enjoyers, Abrahams, round 9, championship match, $1,000 up for grabs. The game's already paused. So Jason Kaplan, tell us the story behind your mustache. What inspired the look?
I just saw how glorious Mitch could grow a mustache as well as Dan. We don't talk about it much, but DDK can grow out very.
He's got hair everywhere. 100%.
Yes, he does. And you know, this is the only thing I could grow on my face. Unfortunately, I can't really grow like a beard.
Can we do like handlebars on it though? Okay, game's back. Sorry, ZP, take it away.
Well, we're getting into it, and people are wondering about lanes. You got a Paige Billy lane, and that makes sense. I think if you're going to pair up Paige, I don't think she has as many good lane options as some of the other heroes, but you pair it up with Billy, and you get really effective trades when Billy just wants to go in.
Yeah, you get the headbutt. The little knock up makes it very easy to land your snare as a Page, and that's a lot of damage you can potentially pump out. Not to mention you get Guardian Ward. It's like a generally first item for Page. You're going to make that Billy extremely tanky, as we can also take a look at who is playing what. Shark's going to be on the Page. It will be AB on the Yamato, and Saf again, as you said, going to be on the Vindicta here.
Also, we got a return of an old school premium lane that it's easy to forget because we didn't see it in a long time, even when they were both meta, just because it was hard to get both at the same time. But we got the Abrams Vindicta lane, the one lane that arguably was at the same level as Shiv Kelvin for a long period of time. And we'll see for Abrahams if, even with all the Vindicta changes, if it still maintains its scary lane presence in the early part of the game.
I mean, it looks pretty scary. You can see Pocket and Ray sitting pretty far back, but the mid lane's really where the pressure's been so far out of Abraham's, getting Demov and Obikim already very low. Demov's been sent back to base here. And Obikim actually going to continue to try to farm up while waiting, or maybe he's just trying to get the mini a little bit low, so we could see the return of his teammate before. But no, he's actually going to get some solo farm himself. Maybe go for that level 2 door for the barrier to make it a little bit more sustainable for them.
Jason,
And
I see
don't hate
weakness
this.
right now. When you look at Obikim and your first item on Doorman has to be extra regen, that means you've gotten just crunched in lane. And it's not getting any better as Demov also gets hit with a hook, loses a bunch of HP after just healing. The amount of pressure getting put in at the moment by this Yamato Bebop lane is pretty scary for buff enjoyers. Like, it's not the start to the lane you want, especially for your Shiv lane where, you know, ideally for Shiv, you want to go at least neutral in the beginning.
Well, that's not going neutral on the right lane. Hoop picks up an early kill onto Together, who looks like got a little bit too aggressive here, getting caught out by just the raw damage that himself and Zergy could apply. If we're talking about, you know, ABL and Yamato, if we're talking about the domination so far in the mid lane, you know, cast your mind back to when mid lane had that very high archway that you could sit on top of and become a battle cruiser Yamato. Because that's where ABL kind of really came onto the radar, I would say, of like what he potentially can pull off. He was a very, very strong Yamato. Though I don't know how relevant Yamato is at the moment in the meta, considering all the other heroes we have now.
Yeah, I mean, that was also... I'm trying to remember if that coincided with Express Shot Yamato right-click, which was absolutely awful at the time, in the sense of having to deal with it. The Yamato just looks at you, and you lose half your HP in the early game. But yeah, middle lane getting heavily pressured in favor of Abraham's, but the right-hand lane... It's kind of interesting. It's applying good pressure here, Jason, despite that. But Obikim just barely slips through the door to get away and may not be out yet. 15 HP. That last shot nearly connected.
Yeah, so you need to see Buff and Jors have a response for this. They're getting dominated way too hard in the mid lane. You can see Emov's going to be down about 500 souls. The constant pressure, he's gone into Wrestle Shot, which is going to be a typical item you pick up. But this Guardian, it's going to die before the 4-minute mark here. And this is where Abraham's, we've seen in the past when they did take victories against Buff Majors, really get things going by taking an early Guardian, able to chain it into multiple Guardians, give them such a big lead that they were able to just snowball with that.
I mean, this is a 4-minute Guardian. This is so early into the game that you're not really able to get help. And also, speaking of, Bebop has gone to overload on the left-hand side. Buff Enjoyers, the one lane that they thought may be okay right now with the Page, now dealing with extra pressure, which is really tough. Just the fact that Tass is opened up now, Jason, to be a menace to the left and right.
And there's something I wanted to go into, but I just wanted to 100% confirm it before I say it. Is there an attack speed reduction out of our Conjure Dragon? Or does Paige have an attack speed reduction of some sort? Or is that Billy?
Truthfully, I'm not sure.
Okay, well, I thought I saw some attack speed reduction, which is like so hard to deal with as an Infernus and an IV, considering you're all about your attack speed.
I'd have to look at Paige. Paige also could have built early suppressor on top of it.
I hate how there's just so many changes happening and there's like so many tiers on abilities that it makes it really hard to remember what can do what. But we do see the first buff come up and they might be able to get a catch on a Saint here, but he will escape just barely right around the corner. As we see Jamsite continuing to farm up and push the lane at 3.9 thousand souls. And Abraham's, with a nice early 3K lead.
Yeah, and I mean, the real danger here for buff enjoyers is the middle lane going awry that early. The fact that Tass is now freed up, and also the part that you look at the individual farm. I mean, it's not as bad as it otherwise could be, but it does put Dmov behind the 8-ball a little bit. So, the impact of this is going to come into play a little bit more as the game progresses in regards to the middle lane being this open. But for now, taking a look to the right-hand side. Just seeing Hoot doing a little bit of freelance to mid, now going back in to the right to defend a Guardian that's began rough. Meanwhile, a trip to the Baroness.
Uh-oh. I can't confirm, by the way, it's Billy with Blasted. It gets 50% attacks, fire rate reduction. So that's what I was looking for over in that lane.
Yeah.
But a nice use of the Baroness Hotel there to get themselves an easy kill into ABL, who's just been such a pain. And maybe this could be an opportunity for buff enjoyers to take some ground back in the mid lane.
Okay, so for BE, tough start with the middle. Trying to find a way to stabilize just a bit. And now taking a look here. You see Shiv. Okay, is Shiv flirting with going to the right-hand side? No, not just yet. Still getting dragged back over to middle. But you see some rotations coming up here. Saf was potentially going to go mid, now going back over to the right. But look at the left-hand side where things are getting really up close and personal as Listic ends up going down. And it's a deep dive here on the left here, Jason. Shurik just kind of getting crunched in the back.
Paige and the 0% win rate might continue here yet again. Pocket's going to be happy. I don't know, maybe sad. As we see another Guardian being taken of Abraham's, extending their lead a little bit further, only 3,000 souls in difference. But they are definitely controlling the pace of the game. Here's to see a very quick push here onto this Guardian, trying to take something for buff enjoyers, but they're being flanked from the backside by Saf. The tether not going to connect though onto the doorman, who tries to get into the door to safety, and Ovikim will get away in the nick of time. And Abraham's, speaking of nick of time, will be here to defend this Guardian and not let a single objective go down yet.
Overall, take a look at things. About 2 minutes before first earn into mid buffs. But also here on the left side, again, up close and personal together. Looking to chase down here onto the Billy. Billy taking refuge in onto the Walker. 2 Guardians down in favor of Abraham so far, while still maintaining all of their own. And now you look at some of the impacts of this, just a little bit of jungle being taken by Abraham's on the BE side.
Okay. Do you want to get aggressive? Well, I mean, not really aggressive. He's just wanting to defend off together. It was in their side of the map. We did see a lot of double Sinners takes last week between these two teams as well, invading very early on to lock those down, to deny it away from their opponents. I was expecting to maybe see something happen on the right-hand side for buff enjoyers, but again, kind of being down, not having the safety of their own Guardians to retreat to, is very difficult to do so. And speaking of Guardians for ZP, a big push out of Dmov trying to get this left-hand one.
Yeah, I mean, for BE, you at least want to get one Guardian down here to give yourself a little bit of room to work within the enemy jungle, but it has been tough going. It is a shift up, though. Dmov, of course, was in middle now, looking for a little bit of refuge on the left-hand side. Meanwhile, take a look here on the Abraham's end for the defense. Just Saint on the Ivy, looking to poke down, but it's not going to be enough to save the Guardian here. Abraham's not too worried about it, but Yamato, Shout Transformation, now looking for the dive on the Sherrick after the Guardian is down, but not going to full commit to it.
Yeah, obviously trying to spot out where the rest of the team is for buff enjoyers before they commit hard into a fight. Not really favoring this one. You can see Hoot and Zergy were on the right-hand side going towards the shop, and I'm also curious if Hoot's been able to pick up Majestic Leap just yet. And Majestic Leap also had some tweaks to it. I believe it's with the amount of shield it gives you.
Yes.
Where you need to boon it before it gives you like the max level shield that it used to have.
Basically, if you rush Majestic Leap, you're not getting as much barrier in the early part of the game, but it's basically the same into the mid and I think a little bit better late game as far as its scaling goes. It was specifically to weaken Pocket builds where Pocket would rush barrier or Leap at the very beginning. But speaking of getting rushed together, looking for a little bit of entry off into the BE side, and it's not a full commit. Billy's just able to back out.
And we're still seeing Cultist being picked up. I was curious to see if we'd have it picked up as heavily as we've seen in the past. But again, I think the initial tier 3 camps with it still makes it very effective, but I don't know how it works out in the long term. I think even Cultist is booned now, if I'm not mistaken. To like quickly go check because there were so many changes.
No, Cultist was always impacted by boons. It just lost a little bit of the scaling that it had.
Yeah,
the thing
and the flat health.
Oh, the pull from no. I was expecting more. It's just like a real, you get the long pull, and then it's just like, actually, Doorman, please continue along your way. It's not actually what I'm looking for.
Using that as a little bit of a bait too to take a Guardian. See it being picked back up, looking for the take with the help of the door. Zerg was there to help defend it, but you can see the chase is going to be together. And with the changes to earn, you run slower, but you get more resists. So I think we're seeing the effect of that. A lot easier to track down, a lot easier to respond to when it's being picked up. But both teams have completely grouped this right-hand side. Saint, though, is pushing a Walker in the left-hand lane. And if you're Abrahams, you could just let this earn go. It's only the first earn of the game. You don't need to commit to this fight.
On the same note, Abrahams has a comp that's pretty good for contesting earn, so they're still going to look for some kills here if they can find it. Changang, though, out from Listic, creating space, finds ABL in the melee. We'll see if Abrahams is going to be able to get something out of this. They are outnumbered here, and together right now, looking for parries in the melee, able to get on out. Way more sustainability than you may think. Billy getting pretty low in the interim and ends up falling at the very end. Burned from Jam side, and while the earn turn in goes the way of Buff Enjoyers, they end up losing the Walker for it, and they have to spend a lot of time at earn turn in too. I think that was a pretty successful contest by Abrahams.
Yeah, I mean it was a net 1 kill for Buff Enjoyers, but in the grand scheme of things, losing your Walker, it's not gonna be a trade you wanted to have happen. So a great little use of the earn out of Abrahams. So I guess, yeah, the use out of Abrahams, knowing that Buff Enjoyers are looking to commit and dunk that one in. They lost a Guardian if we think back to the beginning of when the earn was hooked back in, then it continued to run towards that right-hand side of the map. And that Walker, I mean, Saint, you didn't really get much souls off of it. Was there a change to the amount of souls you get for solo taking objective? Because you only got 1,000 souls for killing that Walker.
No, nothing has changed as far as that I've spotted in recent times. But yeah, take a look. Abrahams, ABL, a little bit deep in the enemy territory right now, where the amount of BE that have rotated into the left-hand side, this is actually a little bit perilous, and Hoot potentially looking to come on in for a little bit of the action. Rotation now in from Abrahams in turn, 4-on-4 on the left, and either side deep diving. We do have an ABL disconnect into a reconnect coming up here, so time to take a breather, look at what's happening, maybe even for Puckett to drop a few subs.
Puckett, this is your time. It's your chance, Puckett. Jason Kaplan with the 2-month sub with his Prime. Big thank you to him. Fantastic to see. ZP as well coming in with another sub. Oh, and the game started, so no, can't do anymore.
All right. Oh, 13 minutes in. Abrahams up on objectives here so far. 1 Walker, 2 still having all of theirs up. And a mild soul lead. You know, one thing we haven't really talked about here is advantage late game between the both teams. And, you know, overall, I would say in terms of scaling, I do give a small edge to Buff Enjoyers in the late game. But to me, this draft between the two teams isn't as definitive in late game versus early game as some of the other drafts I've seen in recent memory.
I mean, if we go to like late game whole W carry, it's coming down to like Zergy versus Jamside / Saint, assuming Saint's building the same way he did from the last game, which was very damage heavy, the old school, not even the old school, the previous Ivy builds we would see for Gun Ivy. And then, yeah, I mean, you still have like the hook potential out of Task. Like, the thing is, if you think about initiators, what does Buff Enjoyers have other than kind of depending on that Majestic Leap Affliction to catch? They don't really have a way to facilitate kills, your ZP.
I think Billy can sort of be your initiator at times, and also Doorman does have pick potential. It's a little bit more awkward than some of the other options, but Obicam can definitely be the first mover in some of the cases. I think the real worry for Abrahams is that Vindicta does tend to fall off in the late game, Bebop tends to fall off in the late game, but most of everything that BE has, with maybe the exception of Doorman, depending on how you rate his scaling, actually is quite good into the end game. And it's going to be difficult to actually get in on Zergy, who's going to have all the space in the world from Billy and Paige and Shiv. And Zergy is the actual massive threat that I think Abraham's going to have a more difficult time dealing with if it is even as we get to, say, the 30-35 minute mark.
Yeah, it's been a long time since we've seen Zergy on Wraith. It's going to be hopefully a thing of a beauty. Looks like buff's coming up in about 5 seconds time. You can see both teams immediately grouping towards his right hand side. The buff major is leaving Demov towards the left to pick up a buff. Big contestation going to be breaking down here. And it looks like it was secured. I want to say for the buff enjoyer's side, if I wasn't mistaken there. Even a hyper beam being committed out of task out of Abrahams to defend against this. And it looks like both teams are just going to disengage without a fight, though. ABL picks off Listic somehow.
ABL was just able to chase down, gets rid of Listic, which, by the way, that's actually another thing that's looking a little bit problematic, is that Listic is kind of poor for Billy now, but the turn, Hoot dives on in, 2-man Affliction, looking to pick up the urn off the Chaos here, gets the urn pickup. So B in control of the urn, now gonna look to rotate it around, but can they do it without suffering any casualties? Tass and Jamside having to back off, definitely pretty helpful here off the Affliction, and Tass gets caught by Demov towards the very end.
There we go, Trackball taking over the camera here. Spots out together and immediately like, yeah, no, I don't want to fight this though. Maybe we'll see actually Hoot come back in towards the fight here because he's in towards the mid lane and they kind of need his help. A great slam bash down comes down, connecting onto 3 here, and Demov quickly picks up 2. Buff enjoyers with the urn in hand have turned this fight around. Eventually going to be giving him the soul lead.
Demov feasting. The one thing you don't want is the Shiv finally getting his well-earned meal. And also, where that fight takes place is in middle. So the easy call is to go direct to that mid-boss. This is a huge game shift so far for buff enjoyers. But, they're in the spot where I think they're still going to be contested by Abrahams if they full commit. So they look at it, they kind of look at Demov's health and decide maybe now's not the time.
That's probably one of the worst case things to happen for them too. And if they go down off the back, this because they don't get Urn, though it has been picked up out of Shark trying to run it back over, but they might lose a couple of players. You can see who may be getting caught out here using the air vent to get away, and he will be safe to find another day. So luckily for buff enjoyers, they don't lose anything off of that. Well, technically they do, because they don't get the Urn turn at least at the moment. Now Abrahams realized, well, you guys backed away, you're low health, you're gonna have to go heal, and you're running the Urn. This might be our opportunity to take the mid boss here, ZP. Abrahams with the old switcheroo.
Is this going to be the right move, though? Because buff enjoyers, they're certainly going to come and contest. Do have the Amato with Shout Transformation. One punch goes the way of Abrahams. Abrahams gets the entire rejuve. Now, can they defend it? 2 down already for buff enjoyers. The contest for BE may have been ill-fated indeed. They're on the quick retreat. Abrahams in hot pursuit. They got nothing to lose here, but certainly a lot to gain. And now, 1 rejuve crystal down. And it starts evening out a little bit. So, okay, 2 rejuve crystals at the very end. BE able to even it out towards the end of it despite losing 2 at the beginning, but overall that's net benefit, Jason, to Abrahams.
Yeah, that's so painful for buff enjoyers to have such a good fight, to not get Urn, to not get mid boss, still having 1 crystal left for Abrahams who pick up the Urn themselves to run it across the map. And you'd almost have to wonder, is there going to be another fight right off the back of this for Abrahams to lock in the Urn and potentially extend this lead even further up to 8K now, 18 minutes in. Tass even going to be teleporting over to the left-hand side of the map.
Even though it's just 1 rejuve crystal, I really don't think you want to contest this if you're buff enjoyers. Like, contesting Urn when the other team has rejuve and the game is even, or, God forbid you're behind, it's just generally a really poor idea. I mean, sometimes you can make it work, and Listic is in the area, so it does look like buff enjoyers, they want to make something happen. I guess, the caveat here may be the Doorman. Doorman is able to do some tricky Urn plays and make turning things in rough. There's a lot of ways you could get hit with luggage cart to a degree that would make things difficult for you, but this is so scary for B, the contest here, with rejuve still in play.
Demov got initial skirmish up against ABL. Gets him very low on HP. And it looks like the killing blow did not get anything out of Demov here, which can be very detrimental to this fight. The silence wave comes across a couple of players. We're tagging along with Obikim, who's looking to retreat, but directly into together. He's forced to send him into the Baroness Hotel and escape through his own doorway. No kills really happening just yet, except Listic, who died before the fight kicked off here, ZP, but the Urn's still heavily in the hands of Abraham.
I mean, they got the final rejuve charge out together, but they use significant resources to get it done. This is why the contest is difficult. You've used your resources, but you still have a fight to fight, and you're down 1. But right now, they're thinking maybe we could get together under pressure from all ends. Has to take the jump pad off and away, trying to rely on the takingness of Abrams. Charge into the doorway, covers into the closet, but no, not enough to get away. Zergy able to finish it off. The urn now rotating back around. BE making it a pretty decent fight all in all. It was a tough one for a lot of circumstances, but to get the last rejuve out and prevent the urn turn in, it's about all you can ask for in that situation.
And who tried to go for the urn very quickly there too, as it's trying to reset. As we hit the 20-minute mark, it does fully reset back to the left-hand side of the map, where we still have the presence out of both teams. Zergy's going to be here with Surge of Power. He's got Tesla, he's got Cultist, even some Spirit Life still being picked up. So I want to imagine it's going towards Leech. But both teams are realizing how important it is to get this urn and turn it in. Unless it's going to be the one to carry it across the map yet again. No time we're going to have back-to-back urn fights here, ZP.
I think that's exactly what we're about to have. And you take a look at ults, both teams very drained from the last fight, but nearly got their stamina right back up. And yeah, I think both teams will very likely be in on this next urn. Of course, the urn did a reset. Is worth a little bit more heading into this. You see the skirmish here in middle. Meanwhile, this may just be a quick dine and dash for Billy, but no, decide they don't have the opportunity. And now you see the rotation in from Abrahams to really kind of set the grounds of this next urn fight.
I think Buff and George are committing, though, to actually go for a push onto this Walker, realizing, well, we lost the Walker before out of the push out of Saint. Maybe we can do something similar here if we can draw them toward the right-hand side of the map. You see Hoot and Zergy paired together to defend against Saint, or a Saint to defend against them, I should say. I kind of like the position of Abrahams. It's like, let's take your jungle while we're grouped up here. Let's make something out of nothing at the moment, because they're just currently just sitting and waiting with this urn, trying to pull Abrahams in the wrong direction.
Also, we haven't really touched on it, but 21 minutes in with no second flex slot actually is really, really poor for buff enjoyers. You're now at the point where it's impacting your item builds, and you're starting to build stuff out of order because that slot has not been gained. And that's sort of a hidden power nerf beyond just the fact you could look at the souls and be like, oh, that's even. The flex slot, that not being here yet is a big advantage for Abrahams. It's only going to get bigger as the overall soul count in the game goes up, until BE can find a way in the macro to just, you know, rotate in, make a trade, do something to get that first Walker down.
Shark with the urn yet again, trying to run towards the right side. And this is an inevitable kind of fight here that has to happen if they legitimately want to turn in this urn. You see Demo on the right-hand side trying to go for maybe catching a jam side, who's up to 23,000 souls. In the meantime, by the way, Saint's at 28,000 souls. He is so far ahead of everyone on his own team, and not to mention the opposing team, other than Zergy, that when he gets into these fights, he's going to be very hard to deal with. It's just him and Zergy to be farming up this lane on the left-hand side. Like, Saint's gonna hurt, and yeah, he's gone like the typical. He's even gone with the Fury Trance mixed in here for the Spirit Resist that you get. Not to mention the Life Steal. And I think he's gonna be looking for the fight here. I think they decided, you know what? We're tired of you contesting this urn. We're gonna go for a fight here. Zergy's not gonna have a chance to defend against us, so he has to commit to the urn, or sorry, to the Walker.
Oh, but Together is completely crunched at the beginning. Silence Wave hits. Together not able to hit any buttons to get away, so it comes at a cost. It's a trade, 1-for-1. Sherrick also going down in turn. But the frontline power for Abraham's getting hit, the support power for BE hit. And now the fight going a little bit more in the progress here. Zergy taking the Walker down while this happens, so BE gets some value. Now for Abraham's, can you punish? Because so far, this is a really good trade for BE so far.
Yeah, they're getting tremendous value out of this. They get a Walker. They trade 1-for-1 in kills. The urn is in the hands, though, of ABL, looking to actually confirm this one and dunk it down. And it looks like he's not going to be given the opportunity. So just quickly switching hands with the urn. But Buffinger is coming out in the head, or ahead in the long term at the moment. And they might even get a push on this right lane Walker, because they have the lane here shoved up as well.
That may be overplaying their hand. They do see that both Ivy and Vindicta are at middle and left respectively. But with urn control being had, that does give Abrahams a little bit more time to fix their lanes before going in. But now ABL is heading on forward, looking to turn in, and the full fight is now about to begin.
Blood Tribute picked up too for Zergy. We haven't seen the item too often, though we always hear the rumblings of it being an insanely strong item that just hasn't been fully tapped into yet. This has like been the longest urn contest because it's not only lasted for the last 4 minutes with this urn, it's lasted from the urn before as well.
Both teams are just being so careful on their positioning right now. Is the big thing is that they're all around each other on the minimap, but the engage has not yet been a thing. However, now Demov up on top, senses weakness. Saf getting real low, was silenced for a moment, but takes down Saf. First pick off the way of BE here. Together is also super low off the beginning, but so is Zergy. Zergy was getting dove on. And Demov, not particularly healthy either, but Hoot's able to chase it down. 3 kills here so far for Buff Enjoyers, as the ones that are low HP are able to get away. Demov now getting chased towards the latter end of the fight. Can Abrahams get anything to even it out? Right now, it may not be the case. It's been such a clean engage from BE so far, as Hoot is looking to put on the finishing touches.
Oh, he gets through the door in time, but he's still low on HP. You can see Saint's still alive, and Saint's putting down a lot of damage, down to 200 HP here for Hoot, just trying to escape. It looks like he'll be successfully able to, as the next urn has respawned in and picked up once again for Buff Enjoyers. So BE coming out with the 1 kill advantage in this fight, or sorry, 2 kill advantage in this fight, and urn in hand once again. This has been such a crazy last, what, like 6-7 minutes of time here, ZP. Honestly, I mean, it might look a little bit boring to some people at home watching, but you can just see the respect out of both teams towards each other, and kind of realizing that this game kind of sits on a knife's edge, that if you get this urn turning and the kills off the back of that, that could be your match 1 already done.
All right, I saw a noob question, and I was thinking the same thing a few weeks ago. I see Sherrick over on 17, together at 16,000 souls. Then you have people like Zergy at 33,000. Are these players super behind? What is their role on the squad? Why can they be that low compared to the rest?
They're that low because they're not taking resources from the people they're trying to funnel resources into. Like, Sherrick's not going to be going and grabbing jungle camps, and Sherrick is not going to be grabbing solo lane farm. It's just who you're going to apportion your souls to. And for BE, for example, they're giving those preferential spots to Zergy because as you get to the late game, Sherrick as Page doesn't need that amount of souls to be effective, whereas something like a late game carry in Zergy does.
Yeah,
All
chat.
that economy game. Are we going to see an urn finally turned into a CP? It's been a long time, man.
It's been interesting because neither team is running a comp that is so good that it could just power through the other team on urn. It's led to these long positioning battles. The thing that's been a little bit tough, though, is I think BE has been a lot better at managing their CCs. I mean, you see Together go in and just immediately get slapped with Silence Wave. CC in general. Speaking of CC, we got Trip to the Baroness right now. In on the middle, followed up by the luggage cart, and Tass is isolated and taken down. Knockdown, though, comes in onto Together. Again, getting hit with the kitchen sink and the anvil, as it were. And off the CC. It's Together trying to reposition, get out of the fight, but so is Sherrick on the same note and can't get away from ABL. Once more, a 1-for-1 trade.
These respawn timers are so long, man. 63 seconds for Shard, 42 left for Tass. You can just tell every kill, like, I mean, if you get 2-3 kills, you have a mid boss, which is already respawned back in. Zergy's able to take down Together, who just can't seem to get a break. If you're going back to the question from Puckett, I mean, would you rather have an 18k Abrams or a 19k Page? And I would take that 19k Page any day of the week. Together's just not really effective in these fights other than a stun bot. And Demov chimes in for another kill. It's currently 3-1 in favor of Buff Enjoyers, and you know that mid boss is looking mighty tasty.
Mid boss, you think, would be the play here, especially getting Jamside out of the fight. The biggest, well, usually I'd say the biggest DPS threat. You got the 35k Ivy that wants to make an argument, but now with only 3 people up, the mid boss getting absolutely chunked. Do you send Saint in here? You can make an argument for it. It's only 3 rejuve crystals now, not 4, so it's not as devastating for the second mid boss, but getting 1 can make a big difference. But it's not going to be the case this time around. They don't go for the contest.
It's not doing Ido from last week to take away all those crystals.
Ooh,
And ABL
was
gets caught trying to go for it.
Yeah, ABL was in the area. Doesn't go for it, but they're aware he's in the area. Ends up getting picked off towards the end, so bit of a misplay, I think, from Abrahams there. And now BE fully in the driver's seat, 3 rejuve crystals, a lead on the game, and they should be able to get Urn relatively risk-free on top of it.
Puckett, I'm calling it now. Page is going to get a win. I hope you're prepared and ready to go for this one. The lead that they currently have of almost 20,000 souls.
Page.
Wait, you're a Page fanboy.
Hey, listen, anyone who doesn't have a 0% win rate, I'm worth watching, or I think it's worth watching.
Do we have
when
any
they
0%
suck,
win rate heroes
just get them
left?
out.
Well, McGinnis, because McGinnis hasn't been played.
True. Facts are facts, GP.
For night shift, yeah. And then, you know what? Let's talk to Hoot. He's gonna play his Patent McGinnis next game and get a win rate on her.
They're gonna regret it.
It might be 1%.
Does Drifter have a dub?
100%. Yeah, he got a dub last week.
Shit.
We had support Drifter. He
Ranger,
just
yeah.
continually blinded people.
All right, I guess I love all the characters right now. Well done, Deadlock.
Well, it's not over yet. Paige hasn't won just yet, Puckett. Don't worry. What's kind of scary though for Buff Enjoyer, sorry, for Abrahams, is that Hoot, he's got Transcendent cooldown now. He's got Majestic Leap. I'm assuming, I don't think I've seen him pick up Ethereal Shift, but it has to be on his site very soon, because the way Transcendent cooldown works with active items, or with items in general, it makes him such more of a threat that he can soak a lot more abilities and damage if he gets into the back line. But this urn, this is a little bit ballsy, ZP, but they do get a catch. That's gonna be over on the jam side. If they could close it on top of this, jam side could be felled, and that could be the chance for Abrahams to get back in the game.
Well, Jamside does get a little bit of support, but it's Tass who ends up giving his life to give a little bit of cover, and together once more getting hit with the kitchen sink. The CC chain is unreal. Together, unable to get away, and Jamside still falling by the wayside. 3 clean pickoffs here for Buff Enjoyers, and they're getting even more. ABL Shadow Transformation into Simple Death. The Walker soon to follow, and Jason. That is 5 down for Abraham's. Buff Enjoyers looking to put this one away.
This is guaranteed stage 1 patron. This is now 2 more flex slots opened up. The final flex slot for Buff Enjoyers you're talking about before. They were struggling for them early on, but now having all of them unlocked and all this extra money on their side, 9,000 for Zergy. I mean, excuse me, I don't think they go for the finish here necessarily, but they do have 3 Reach of Crystals left.
Just end it. You got this, Zergy.
Go for it.
Let's make it interesting.
I think they could end, because both Vindicta and ABL are not going to be in this fight. It's a 6-on-4. You can just dive second stage patron. I think you go for it. And Buff Enjoyers, they also think you go for it. We'll see what Abrahams has on the defense, but really all you got to do is click the patron. You got extra lives, you got the damage. It is over, and Buff Enjoyers, they take the first map.
Paige gets a W. Rips it right out of the book and slaps it on the Abraham's forehead. Buff Enjoyers holding the first win of 3. That's what you're gonna need if you're gonna go the distance, is 2 wins to earn $1,000. Abraham's hoping they could force a game 3. Did this come down to the draft? Was it an in-game moment, a comp difference? What do you see, Kaplan?
Seen a whole lot of 10 to 15 minutes of urn running in that last game. It was just pretty much that long. Oh man, what is the name that you light on like a firework? What's that thing called?
Marathon?
Sparkler?
Fuse?
No,
Fuse.
The fuse was lit. It took about 15 minutes for it to finally go off. Thank you so much, Bucket. And when it did, Buff Enjoyers are able to come out ahead with all 10 fingers attached for a first match victory.
ZP, did you answer Sparkler?
Yeah, I did.
That's fantastic.
You're talking about like fireworks are just on for a long period of time and not doing a whole lot. I mean, that is a sparkler. It does last a long period of time.
Very solid answer.
Not Italian sparklers.
ZP goes with the most Italian sparklers. Got nothing on the ones we build here in Kentucky. I'll tell you that. All right, as we put the shades back on to piss off that one guy in the chat, let's break down what we just witnessed, ZP, because this is the Buff Enjoyers putting belt to ass in game number 1. Looking at the end numbers, it was a convincing dub. Was it that story all along, or was it close?
I think this came down to initiations towards the end. We ended up in what was effectively a stalemate with very long urn fights, neither team having a comp that was strictly good at just securing the urn outright. So both teams really had the way how they did engagements, but the one thing Buff Enjoyers decided that they were going to do for all their engagements is that they were going to use items like Silence Wave, they're going to use items like Knockdown, and they were going to focus on Together at the beginning of these fights. Abrahams had a real hard time maintaining their front line, and with Together oftentimes going down early from all the focus fire, they were able to start whittling down other key players. And, you know, for Buff Enjoyers, they were losing Sherrick earlier in the fights, but not before Sherrick was able to get her ult out, not before Sherrick was able to get most of her actives out. And realistically, if you're going for trades, trading the low souls page for the Abrams, you're kind of good with those trades. So
Bro.
for me, it was the engagements.
No way. Look at like do you remember how this game started? With Tass and ABL absolutely on the mid lane of Obi-Kim and Dimov. And Dimov comes back with 0 deaths, most player damage, most kills. Like that's insane. I think that's a true testament to the mental game out of Dimov and Obi-Kim and Buffingers in general to have be punished that heavily in the mid or the early game to bounce back into a win like this.
Kaplan, chat wants to know, is there a cheater in this game? Was anyone looking fishy?
I'll let you know after I check some VODs.
All right, we're going to look at some VODs. Some weird stuff is going down, but something that's not so weird is our MVP. It's Zergy or D-Mob, 50-50 chance. Chat, who do you think deserves it this time around? It's not the page. Don't show me a bunch of page highlights, right, CP?
I mean, look, you gotta give it for Sherrick for being a team player on the page, but I think to elaborate a little bit more on Dimov is that Dimov was just in the gutter, and there was one really good fight where Hoot was able to land a great affliction, and Dimov was right place, right time. I think ended up getting something like 4 out of the 6 kills in the team fight over a very small period of time, and that got Dimov right back into the game, which kind of proves, you know, look, even with the worst start imaginable, the right circumstances and the right team play, you can get right back in it, especially with Shiv.
So, Kaplan, who do you think had more impact, though? Because I'm looking for front runners. Are we going Zergy? Are we going Dimov? Are we going Hoot?
Depends which one will make you give 10 more subs to the channel.
Ooh.
I'm an easy man. I see money and I
want to go on Abrahams. I want an Abrahams MVP. I want to tell the full comeback
together MVP. God, that's a big bug. MVP for keeping the mental game strong after being destroyed so many times. Oh, we still have one more game to go, at least, until we do have our MVP to be crowned. But we do have potentially a different kind of MVP bucket.
Yes, we will crown our most valuable player at the end of the best of 3. We're looking for front runners right now. Chat, let us know who you think deserves some applause. But one person, and I guess one team that truly does, is Trolley, because they come on board with the night shift crew to make it official. ZP Deadlock is taking competition to the next level. You have an empty pack in your hand. It's already gone. These things are delicious, and so is this prize purse. $20,000, 10K to North America, 10K to Europe. We have the biggest Deadlock tournament yet, all thanks to our friends at Trolley.
That's right, and this is going to be a combination. We're inviting some of your top teams that you've been seeing for weeks, but it's also open qualifier.
Wait, open? Right. Like I could play?
You could.
No, not you, Puckett.
Gotcha. I gotta work the show. But tell me, if I did want to play, how would I participate, ZP?
Well, it's all on the link, both there and in chat. We're going to have a Discord server up tomorrow also to keep things a little bit more organized. And yeah, realistically speaking, if you can sign up for this tournament, is not all invite. While we will have 4 invited teams in each region, we will have a qualifier day, which is the first day of the tournament. And that's where we'll get our other 4 teams. And you'll all be playing for a $10,000 prize in each region, 10,000 to NA, 10,000 to EU. And, you know, look, it's Halloween is coming up, and, you know, we had to make people aware of some of the best candy around.
We have an awesome producer, executive producer, Solomon, back there. He also presses buttons to make things happen. Solomon, do you see that left side, night shift, the Abrams? Can we zoom in right next to the trophy? Maybe the finest artwork to ever grace this channel. I don't know who draw these headsets on these worms, but this is fantastic. Jason, I know you guys don't have sour worms over in Italy yet. We're trying to get you some. But what do you think tastes the best? The blue, the pink, the orange, or the green side? Because I know you bite them in half. There it is.
If I was, okay, the best tasting one, of course, is going to be the blue and the pink one. But if I were to relate myself to one of these 2 worms, I got to be the orange one because I'm freakishly tall.
Very tall. Very good looking. He's got a headset on. It's Jason Kaplan. ZP is the weird one on the right. I'm your host with the most, Chris Puckett, and that is game number 1. You could be involved in our next show. Remember, it's the Night Shift Trolley Open. You don't got to be pro. You just got to sign up and own. And with best of ones, anything can happen. ZP, do you got like a pro tip for my team that is not allowed to play, but if I was putting together a hypothetical team, how would I take down a top squad with some cheese?
I mean, look, find out what their comfort heroes are, ban them in draft, and just do your studying, because if you're a new and upcoming team, you know everything about the veteran teams and they know nothing about you. So, leverage that to your advantage.
Lies.
Absolutely.
The best way to get a foot up in the qualifiers is to pick yourself up some trolley gummies, eat them on the fly to give you all the energy and focus you need to take those victories and get into the money. That's what's coming up in the next 2 weekends.
We're not doctors, but it sounds like wise advice from an old sage man from a European country. That's Jason Kaplan. We got ZP on the mic. We got a game 2 on the way. It's Buff Enjoyers taking on the Abrahams. Do you guys need a break? Should we just roll into it? Should we force these kids? Fine, Europe. Take your pee break. We'll keep it humane. After this, more video games. Thanks, Charlie. We got worms, and it's the good kind you can share with your friends. We got Jason Kaplan, ZP, Chris Puckett here. The shades are on, ZP. Do you have like the little connector set that just flips on top of your regular sunglasses like a really cool kid?
I do not. But you know what I do have, Puckett? I got some extra details that came in where people are asking questions about the trolley tournament coming up, and a few things. The sign-up page is just for the qualifier day. The qualifier day
Okay, so I sign up for a qualifier. That makes sense. Okay.
And the qualifier day is double elimination BO1, which
wait, so it's best of ones, but it's also double elimination? Like I get 2 lives?
Exactly. For the qualifier day.
Okay.
And that leads into our group stage, which is going to be Swiss, where the first round is a BO1 into BO3s, where you still have to lose twice to be out of it in the group stage, which then goes into the final day, which is playoffs, which is going to be single elim, but BO3s the entire time. So
if you've been waiting to become famous, now is the time to sign up and become internet famous on Deadlock.
Yes. Also, I can confirm that our 4 EU teams are set for the tournament, and the 4 invited teams. The teams that get a pass to Saturday directly for EU, it's going to be Buff Enjoyers as our number 1 seed, Abrahams as our number 2 seed, Lodos as number 3, and Bots as number 4.
The chat is loving it. Thank you all for the trolley support. Thank you for the tier 3 from F&T, keeping a 2-month streak alive. That's $50 they donated, and it's all going to a great place. Thank you to Solomon, everyone behind the scenes, and of course the excellent sales team that worked alongside Trolley to bring Deadlock and Night Shift together. It is going to be a blast. One more time, if we have the graphic, let's throw it up there for him, Solomon, because we're going live next week with North America. After that is EU. It all begins October 17th through the 19th for NA, October 24th through the 26th for Europe. And then, of course, any candy you have left over, you can pass out to children or eat on your own for Halloween. It's the perfect month to do this thing. Kaplan, I'm fired up for this tournament.
I even heard that the viewers might have a chance at winning some candy as well. I don't want to go too much into the details, so you have to make sure to tune in to find out. But I also just heard from production Puckett that the Pucketeers are not being invited to the North American portion.
The Pucketeers are disqualified again?
Yep.
Sneaky beavers. I'm relying on you guys. Go deep.
You could go to Rocker. Yeah. You could go to Rocker and be like, your name's Sneaky Golem, if you want to appease Puckett, you could become the Sneaky Beavers. Just change that golem to a beaver.
Rocker, how much we talking? Because I got sponsors now. We got Intel. We got sugar candies, trolleys. It's going to be great.
Puckett, but when they won last week on Night Shift, I see my boy Rocker tweeting his new Porsche that he just got. So,
okay.
I don't know if you're going to convince him with money. I'm just saying.
I was going to say my EWC checks just cashed, but those aren't going to cover shit. All right, let's get into Buff Enjoyers. Abrahams. Game number 2. Abrahams, of course, losing game number 1 after getting the first ban. This time, Buff Enjoyers will be banning out first. And Enjoy Stuff just dropped 10 gifted on our forehead. We started around 600 subs on the night. We're already at 713. We passed 1,000 last week. Thank you to the 1,600 people watching right now live over on twitch.tv. Make it 1,850, excuse me. And over on youtube.com, we've got another 1,200. The Kick fam is always growing in our TikTok family. I hope you guys are enjoying the VODs. We've got some great clips coming your way, and another Kelvin ban means the Icy Boy is not going to be seen for Europe potentially at all tonight. Pocket is going to be the first ban for the Abrahams. Does this make sense, ZP?
Yeah, I think it makes sense. I think Hoot was part of the reason why those fights worked out in their favor as they went longer. Hoot was able to get pretty good, solid afflictions the whole way through. And yeah, I mean, that was a big deal. Also, buff enjoyers decide we don't want to deal with Kelvin. Of course, you don't want to deal with Abrahams on Kelvin. And they ensure that they get the Infernus when they have first pick. All of this makes sense. Also, I got one note on the Trolley tournament that's coming up. It is region locked. No EU, you cannot go and steal
you dirty
NA's
kids.
money. I had like 4 DMs from EU teams being like, can we sign up in NA? And the answer is no, but that's why you have the tournament in EU. That's all.
They think they can win NA with ease,
players.
guys.
These
That
guys,
is
come
such
on.
mad disrespect. They're like, we will play with the ping and slap you NA kids around. I don't know if they're wrong.
By the way, Enjoy, who gifted, I think, 20 subs now, he just subbed for himself finally. So he gave out 20 subs before even subbing himself. I think Paige is our MVP. I think we have to get. We can call it now. All right, it's loaded up. Paige for MVP of the series, even if we're not done yet.
Kaplan's giving away 25 gifted for a Page MVP here.
I didn't get an EWC Page.
Crazy.
It's
It's crazy. 37 gifted, he said, ZP. That's a wild number to choose.
No, he said 39. It was actually 39.
He did say 39. That's right. That's what I heard.
69, and then Puckett said for 70 he'll give out his home address. So you guys want to know exactly where Puckett lives. Just send him some goodies.
We're going to do some watch parties in the backyard. I barbecue in between games. We have it on a big screen. It'll be fine. We get back to the draft, and the Doorman is back in action. Who's a bigger pickup for the Abrahams? The Shiv, the Doorman? What do you want to combo with these guys, EP?
It's a little bit interesting that Doorman got picked with this high of a priority. That is a little bit wild to me, but also the Victor coming in, not just getting played, but getting picked in the first half of the draft. The buffs are real, and buff enjoyers decide they want to enjoy them, I suppose. I mean, there were some rumblings of this, but to be picked third, that is wild.
Kaplan, did you see another 10 gifted just got dropped by Enjoy stuff because Kelvin got banned?
I can't see anything with these sunglasses on.
It's ridiculous. Doesn't it make the job a little bit harder? But it's way more fun. Like when you're at this level, you just got to throw challenges at yourself. All right, Victor's in.
What's being picked and what's happening around the show right now, but I mean, yeah, he's coming with a lot of subs here. But yeah, Victor, I've seen Listic playing a bunch of it on his stream. I've seen even Zara. I think I was watching Zara. Was it him or Goo? Yeah, it's him or Goo. I don't know. They both look the same to me. Playing it where you actually like proc your ultimate on purpose and you rank it up to max level first because it gives you, while it's on cooldown, the extra damage and fire rate. So you can actually go towards like a gun build for Victor. But I'm really curious to see what buff enjoyers might be going with this, because he got nerfed and then he got buffed and then he got nerfed and then he got buffed and buffed and buffed. And was, oh my God, he comes in with 25 big ones.
Kaplan just got covered. Kaplan just got covered.
That's just right.
Thank you. Enjoy stuff. I hope you can drive to Ohio. That's where we cook barbecue ribs for $3 a pound.
Or drive to Italy.
6 slabs. ZP is driving in. He's bringing the mashed potatoes that he's hand mixing.
I mean, yes, that's true. Also asparagus. But Paige now getting picked by Abrahams as they're taking a lot of notes from buff enjoyers on their draft and deciding, yeah, we actually think Paige is pretty good after the buffs. Right. So this is kind of a ridiculous
If she loses
draft.
here, though, are we allowed to go back to Paige hate?
Have you seen
Is it acceptable? Paige? If she loses, because like if she wins, I clearly have to like her.
I mean, look at her.
I know you and Uber.
You have to like her.
I just see that book and I just want to knock it out of her hands. I'm just a bully.
Yeah, so I think what's really interesting, by the way, is that Mina made it to the second round of picks and was actually picked up here. ZP is just gnawing down on some sour gummy worms here, man. I'm jealous. I haven't gotten any yet.
Show us your tongue.
I know they're coming.
Show us your tongue. Is it bleeding yet? ZP got like a whole box of them. It is half empty.
Okay, so realistically, the first bag got erased instantly. The second bag got erased after a few days. And now production is pleading with me to say, please save some bags for the event. Like, I know they sent you 15 bags, but at the rate you're going, you're not going to have any there.
15 bags?
I did.
Oh my
Crowley
God.
sent
Dude, it's
me a
insane.
bounty.
It's a box.
Yes.
My wife is like, there's a heavy box for you on the front. I was like, okay. Picked it up, opened it up. I was like, oh, these are all mine. Threw them in the basement away from the kids. Here we go. The stash is in the chat. Hayes is in the game, and we got a Page playing alongside a Grey Talon and a Wraith, which Zergy just put an MVP-like performance on for the buff enjoyers. What does Zergy and crew lock in for the 6th, or I guess 12th and last pick here, Kaplan?
I'm thinking buff
Did
enjoyers.
Billy go? Billy?
They don't have a ton of front line right now.
Let's get this show on the road.
But
shall
Billy
we?
would
Alco.
be most likely played by Calico. Sorry, someone in chat asked me to do that, so I hope they sub now for that one. This is interesting because, like I said before, Listic's been playing a lot of the Victor, but to see Calico being picked up, I mean, not that he was the only Calico player for the team. Oh my, another 25. Is that 50? It's like 70 subs from Enjoy Stuff. Let me send you my PayPal if you want to keep subbing. You can hook it up here.
Not
But yeah,
approved.
big
Not
thank you
approved.
to it. Wait, okay, tell me what to do
Enjoy
with my voice
stuff.
for
I
this
don't know
one.
if it's a birthday party. What are we celebrating tonight? The fact that Kelvin isn't getting played earned 10 subs. The fact that ZP's on the show, I think, got us 10 subs. The fact that we put pressure on you to sub got us 25 subs. And that one was just an unexpected 25 sub bonus. I don't know what we're doing here.
He said,
but
Bucket.
enjoy.
He said in
I'm
chat.
ready to party.
He said in chat, if I do 25 more subs, which was the one he just did, ZP has to finish the entire bag that he's eating right now.
I mean, that's going to happen
done.
regardless.
Done.
I don't even
Show
need
it,
a
ZP,
side
show it.
All at once,
Show it.
like right now.
Show it.
How many trolley gummy
Show
worms
us
do you
the
fit in
bag.
your
What are
mouth?
we up to? I bet it's halfway gone already, chat.
It's kind of getting close.
I
to
told
that,
you.
right?
I told you. All right. Don't worry. It's
They're
I've
good.
done the math. It's around 700 calories per bag. In case you
God.
can't have lunch, you just need to have a little sustenance to keep you awake on a road trip like ZP. Go ahead, ZP. Show us how many of those worms can you fit in your mouth? That's 25 gifted,
I'll work up to
ZP.
that. I still have to cast the game. Like my tongue, can only take so much sourness.
Are you doing NA as well? Because this is a
I'm
2-0. It was definitely a 2-0 tonight. There's no way there's a game 3 coming. Did
I
you
think
see
it
the
could be a
draft?
game 3. You
They
look,
got
you
Mina
gave up
and a
PT.
gun Ivy.
It'll be interesting. Also,
my God,
in terms of who's
my
playing
eyes.
what, I think it could be Listic on the Victor, and then maybe it's going to be the old Dimov Calico, which is a thing if you go deep enough into the history.
I am farming. That is right, Chad. Unfortunately, my time is over. ZP has survived, and he is now crowned the king of the mic. Take it away, play-by-play guy.
You know, Chad, I just looked, and Jason, there's a lot of demand to have me have shades, but okay.
Yeah.
I was looking at, and
You got
Sherrick
time.
on the Calico.
We're going to a third game. You got time, ZP, to quickly run and get.
Dude, it's a vibe.
I'm never casting again in esports without shades on now. Puck is converted.
You're welcome. It's for the boomers. It helps us. No migraines, no stress. The wrinkles settle down on your forehead. It's great.
Can you help me regrow my hair on the top of my head? That's
by the way,
only question I have.
Look at the swap
Yes.
that's going on right now. I mean, they got the Doorman Page swap for Abrahams, where they are full changing up their lanes. Now Wraith is changing up. Abraham's deciding, you know what, we want some more favorable lane matchups, and they decide this is the one after Doorman goes in the left lane and immediately lost half of his HP.
Well, speaking of losing HP, ABL down to 70. Oh, I thought that was 100 subs for a second there, and I almost pooped myself a little bit. Just 100 bits. We're safe. We're safe. But yeah,
Thank you
this
for the
has
little
been
bits. Don't no Putin.
little bitties, little bitties. But yeah, we've seen some like adaptations already come through. A lot of damage being done early on, and this time it's ABL the one to take the brunt of the damage, at least when it comes to mid lane. Considering he was the one.
ZP.
Oh my.
ZP.
25.
Can
ZP.
we get a picture-in-picture of ZP on camera?
ZP. Can we just have a permanent ZP cam as he is forced to eat trolleys while doing play-by-play? The only way to stop him from doing it is to sub with 50 gifted.
Look, that's a little bit too much focus on me in this moment, but I assure you, this bag of trolley that I have right now is not going to be lasting that long. But as I look at this lane matchup that's going here so far, I mean, look, for BE, this right-hand lane, I think has to go well. You're investing a lot into Mina to carry things forward, to give Obakim a good ramp, and so far, Zergy's Mina has been kind of the raid boss of Night Shift the last 2 weeks, where when Zergy has had it, Zergy gets ahead of the game and then never quite stops.
Yeah. I'm so distracted by all these subs coming through, to be honest, because we beat our all-time hype train record at level 12 now. which is kind of insane, kind of ridiculous. But just like this game, it's going to be ridiculous and tasty, like what's coming up the next 2 weekends of play here with our
tongue,
friends of
bloody tongue. Sorry, that wouldn't happen. Would never happen. Why am I even talking about it? Look at this cat. It's a cat. It's a calico. Wow.
Together ends up falling, and yeah, I mean the Calico lane looking a little bit more decisive, being played by BE right now. Just Calico Infernus here on the left hand side, and this is after the lane swap, Jason. Remember, this is Abraham's picking their perfect lanes, but it hasn't resulted in perfect play.
I can hear you just swallowing the deliciously sweet saliva after eating those gummy worms, and I'm very jealous over here in Italy. But yeah, this lane swap not working out too well for them at the moment. We see a dive coming in on the mid lane past the tower is indeed going to be listing on the Victors. He gets a kill onto ABL. He's got the spirit and he's got the extra charge as well picked up. And he's got 160 HP at the moment, but this is a phenomenal start here for Buff Enjoyers. Still at 2K so far, only 4 minutes in.
Yeah, and remember for Abraham's, they're facing elimination should this not go well. But the thing that's wild to me is just how much the draft has changed in 1 week, where yes, you had balance changes come in, but just a very different take on things from both teams. Now, as we take a look at this, things slow down a little bit, some of the chaos settles. You know, you take a look back on the mid lane, and it's pretty pushed up despite the fact that, you know, BE was able to get good Guardian damage at the beginning, but now it feels like Listic is holding on for dear life, low HP, with ABL just looking for opportunities.
Zuri playing from the high ground here. Trying to go in and get aggressive for these doorways. ABL does get the kill on Listic in the meantime, by the way, in mid, but Demo's able to turn things around and get one for himself on his haze. Here comes the owl, and again, next, ABL gets the +5 there. This is a great start for Abrahams, considering how things were already going. ABL in particular, we know how strong he can be on a great talent. But ZP, I got one more question for you.
What's that?
How many more subs does Enjoy have to gift for you to do a big team fight with just gummy worms in your mouth, with at least 5 in your mouth, and you have to like cast wilds in your mouth?
That's gonna be difficult, because as much as I like the concept, Jason, I don't. The worms would have to be in my mouth for a long time, because you can't just predict when the big team fight is gonna happen. You know?
It's a 25-minute mark, and then you have to hold them in your mouth until we cast for 1 minute.
I feel like ZP has 1 week and 3 days to prepare for this moment. Just a heads up, ZP. It's coming. North American qualifiers.
You know what? That's fair. We save it for the weekend, as it were. But
It's gonna be a good weekend.
one thing build-wise that we didn't really touch on with GT is that a lot of people think gun GT is actually viable now. Like, I'm kind of curious to see what ABL is building, but you know, it's a build where you maybe start a little bit on Spirit, but then as the game progresses, you go more gun items, and Reign of Arrows Talon can actually be horrifying with some of the gun changes here. So, you know, I do wonder if that's in the cards for Abraham's off the start here so far.
That's kind of what we're in right now. It's not, I mean, I like how we put out our tier list of heroes in September, ZP, and I think like 1 hour later, we had the balance changes come through. So it made our tier list absolutely useless. But considering we're only really like a week into this, less than a week in, we don't really know what's going to be the king of the meta anymore, or what the builds necessarily might be, because of some big changes to items, to big changes to how some heroes, you know, work. Like Victor in particular, as you do see the ultimate being procced here, unless he's going to rejoin the fight once again. But there is definitely the possibility for like a gun GT, and he does do a ridiculous amount of damage, but so does Hoot here on the Infernus, as he gets a kill on the Saf. I didn't expect this to happen right under the tower.
Yeah, Saf just getting run down. And yeah, I mean, the tier list video is pretty rough. Also, in terms of changes, we're in the realm where Victor gets about 2 balance changes a day over the last week is where it's been. But Page going down right after the Guardian down. Sometimes you just want to let go. Here comes the Owl, though, coming in from the outside. May get one, and does. ABL, hello from afar to Sherrick.
+10. He's ramping up that damage. I mean, he might as well just go gun at this rate if he keeps getting free damage on his Owl. But looking at the rest of this, I think trying to analyze the comps a little bit, because honestly, during the draft phase, I was just enjoying Enjoy with his bajillion gifted subs he was doing. It's weird to see that there's really no front line. I mean, yeah, you obviously have Listic, you have Shark, but for Abrahams, you don't really have a front line. So where are their picks going to come from? It's either from the poke damage of ABL if he stays towards Spirit. It's going to be towards the paradoxical swap, and then potentially locking them in with Page as 3. but they are lacking a front line, which can easily be decimated by like I want to feel like the damage Buff Enjoyers has, but they're also in a similar suit.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting how this game is going to pan out. I mean, also you talk about, you know, frontline options that were potentially available that didn't get picked. Abrams might have gotten banned, but Billy was available, and neither team decided to go with the GOAT. So a little bit of a difference there, where Billy's been otherwise so super popular in EU as of late. But also, you know, Abraham's getting a little bit risky there. Seeing Shiv on the opposite side using teleporter. I mean, take a look at Together. Together is deep behind enemy lines right now, Jason.
Yeah, I think again, it's going in towards these sinners. I think maybe he's trying to suss that out to see if he could take out the double, the Puddin building away. But I'm also, you're not a big Dota player, were you, ZP? If I remember correctly, you didn't play too much Dota in the past.
No, I was, but it was like old school Dota. It's like the clan TDA in Warcraft 3 era Dota, into like Heroes of New Earth when it was sort of proto Dota 2 before Dota 2.
Proto Dota.
Yeah.
So I think I played maybe like 2 games of Dota. But one thing I've always heard is that when it comes to balancing in that game, it's just you make every hero really strong, and then nothing's overpowered because every hero is just overpowered. And I wonder if Deadlock's going to go the similar route with all their heroes. If everything is just going to be insanely strong, that you don't really need to balance it anymore, and that every hero is viable in the game, which I would find really cool to see.
It's kind of the Marvel vs. Capcom school of balancing, where if everyone has overpowered stuff, you know, nothing is overpowered. And yeah, I mean, that was one of the cool things about Dota, especially in its early stages. Most things felt really powerful, but Paige right now dropping the ult in exchange for the Crusher and may get out as a result. In fact, Sherrick ends up falling. What a turnaround by Saint.
Go, keep going, Bucket. Let's switch roles. Oh, he went quiet. Okay, I didn't think there's anything that can make Bucket be quiet.
That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, I actually heard that he's going to be maining Paige in one of our game nights that we're going to have upcoming later on in this month.
Well, it's just a shift where originally it was going to be Puckett's Pocket. Now it's Puckett's Page. And Demov,
the good old PP.
Quick little, wait, what is the... That is new movement tech out of the Baroness, but it doesn't help Demov from his final exit at the very end.
Yeah, the exit is, I guess, the entrance to his base in that sense. I do have the urn being picked up, and obviously in the last game, if you missed out on that one, we had about 15 minutes of our 25-minute game be just the urn, and I'm really not over exaggerating, to be honest, when it came to that one.
The urn.
It's in the hands of Sharik. Yeah, that seriously was, that game was decided by the urn. I feel like you live by the urn, you die by the urn.
All right. Well, looking at things right now, 54k, the 55k. Objectives on the map. Abraham still maintaining one Guardian. Same for Buff Enjoyers, so both teams still looking for their flex. The urn rotation, though, is going to be in control for BE. And we'll see how much the urn plays a role in this game here so far.
I hope not much, and at least for this first one. It's not really worth contesting so much, as Listic just charges straight through and Saint will fall on the Page. And if anyone is out there that can make Page look good, I would definitely think it's going to be Saint, but not when he's being rushed by 3 different heroes. The enemy side, ABL. Takes a lot of damage from that pain battery, to be fair. He's got his owl ready to go, already plus 10. Might be looking to add some more numbers to this.
Now, back over to the urn. And it's going to be a relatively quiet turn in here. Sherrick just able to walk forward. Abraham's not committing too much. You got an owl coming a little bit late to the party. Up, over. Who do you want to take an HP tax from? It's going to be Hoot.
And Hoot's like, you know what? I don't care. I'm going to look for this Guardian here. And they will get the flex slot unlocked, maintaining their own away from Abraham's, as the left Guardian's still going to be there. And Listic's at 12,000 souls. You know, I think Listic, he's one of those players that doesn't necessarily matter what hero he's on. When he gets ahead, he does a really good job of staying ahead, which is really difficult to do considering like the role he plays for the team. But I'm really curious to see how he's going to do it on this Listic. Torment Pulse has been bought up for him already. He's going to have jump starts. Even if he doesn't escape in time, he's going to have enough healing to get out of this one. Or maybe not with ABL there.
Well, either way, even if he goes down, you're just triggering the ult at the beginning. You're going to have fall through on the rest of it. Sherrick dropping the Return of the Shadow, a little bit of covering fire. Together, though, getting awfully low. Listic still wants a little bit more. It shares the pain with Together. Walks on over. And now, is Saint going to be under the gun here once more? Lower HP on the page, and the backup for Listic is there as the lead continues to grow here so far for Buff Enjoyers.
Not only is that growing, so is our sub goal, man. Jax the Beetle with 25 subs coming in. He gifted quite a few earlier on today. He's gifted 65 in total so far. To the
guys, I think I made a mistake. They asked how many subs for Puckett to Page cosplay. I said 1,500. Jack instantly responds bet and drops 25. Let's keep it PG, children. I don't need red hair.
Yeah, PG. Puckett's the GOAT is what we heard there. And you know why Puckett's the GOAT? Because Puckett is going to look like Page, is what I heard from all of that. But, yeah, as we delve into the game, I mean, this is a little bit different from last time, Jason. Last time was very even until finally the dam broke, but Buff Enjoyers pretty firmly ahead here thus far. Seth going on in. Still has the trip to the Baroness in the ready, and Sherrick using Calico's unparalleled mobility to just get out from what could have been a rough situation. The Owl in pursuit, but not low enough HP to go down just from the Owl.
And we can actually take a quick look. He's got what, rapid recharge for ABL. We were wondering if he's go towards a gun build or go towards a spirit build, and it looks like it's still over towards spirit at the moment, but uncharacteristically, I should say, ABL only at 11,000 souls. Jamside still farming away at 15k, very far ahead of his team. And ABL still gonna have impact with the Owl. Oh my god, Jamside just demolished the suit. But ABL's not gonna have that kind of punching power until he gets a couple more items online, and if he can maybe catch up to the rest of his team, because he's gonna spend a lot of his time rotating between these lanes.
Thinking about things that Abraham's needs for win conditions here, the upside is that Jamside's looking pretty farmed on the Wraith. The downside is that their front line is looking almost non-existent. Their main frontliner that you would expect to be creating space is Together, and Together is at a paltry 10k. And Listic, who is playing Victor, who's essentially Mr. Run at you, is at 15k. So in terms of bigger team fights here, it's quite honestly going to be Listic holding W against Abrahams, and they're going to have to work pretty hard against it. I mean, maybe you use your hotel guest on Listic to buy time, but the way team fights go, it's Abrahams that has a much tougher problem to solve, even if the soul count was even.
Oh man, he's got survival buff as well for Listic. If you're talking about run to enemy team, jumpstart plus that, it's gonna make him even more deadly and more difficult to take down, especially if he starts building into some resist. But that was one of the big changes to Victor in the last patch, is that spirit resist does not prevent damage from or suffering that you take, and I think they eventually dropped it down to 70%. So it kind of changes the build a little bit, though. I would imagine against this team he's going to go a relatively similar route, and D-Monk gets caught out by 4 players out of Abraham's. But look at the second urn in enemy territory. That's just kind of the sign of how this game has been going. But you know what? Abraham's like, you can have the urn, but we're going to push into a walker here and try to get it.
Yeah, be more than willing to extend their advantage if possible on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, Abrahams, of course, would like to get their walker down, and things getting a little bit heated down into the lower right between both teams. Page Elk comes out towards the very end, and the walker looking like it's going to maintain its life here on the right for BE so far, unless Abrahams decides to regroup and take another crack at, which they very well might be right now, Jason, as we see Hoop drop the dash, try and get out of danger here. Task, meanwhile, burning at the same time, and things are very back and forth here on the right.
This is tough. Hoot's getting very low on HP. Al is not up just yet, and it seems like Abrahams are really committing for this fight, but they'd be so careful. Listic's gonna be coming in from behind, and he's ready. Pain battery ready to go to chip away at everyone on the other side. Jamside already extremely low on HP. As you can see, that's Shark looking to go for the chase. Listic will get locked down, but I don't think Jamside has a chance to escape, and Listic, the machine, at 17,000 souls, picks up 1 kill and finally turns this fight around.
Also, I really want to point out the build that Victor is going here so you don't troll your own pub games after playing Listic. The pub builds for Victor are outdated. You don't go Spirit Resilience early. Look at what Listic's building right now. This is what you should build by comparison. You know, don't do the Spirit Resilience rush. Try and win your Victor games.
You know, I was watching Lightbringer's stream, and he was like just making up some builds. The enduring speed he was talking about being such a good item now with the recent changes for the extra speed you get around the map, the extra regen you get as well, and the regen starts like immediately. It's not like you need to wait 10 seconds for fortitude being out of combat before you start to regen over time. And he definitely put a lot of emphasis on this being like a very strong item that goes for quite a few heroes.
I think enduring speed is generally good and is even better in pubs than it is in comp play, but here's the trade. You know the other team's going for Urn, it's a rough Urn position. You go, okay, you can have the Urn, we're going to try and take mid-boss. That's a calculation that Buff Enjoyers has made here. We'll see what Abraham's able to do for the contest. Remember, you do have Doorman here for the contest, and you have Page, but Page doesn't have ult up here, so you're not going to have the Page ult up. Are there going to be Doorman shenanigans? Here we go. Both teams all into it here. The Rejuve in contest. Both teams on it. Saf Tass able to grab the Rejuve hits. It's all Abraham's here in the middle, and this could be the turnaround they need.
No, that's one crystal already been taken away. I think that was Together who went down. He's still low on HP. But you can see the Buff Enjoyers, they lost out on 4 players. Demov and Shark immediately forced back. And Abraham's to get the Urn and the contestant time, take away all the Rejuves and maintain 2. The perfect turnaround play to get them back in the game here. And the lead that Buff Enjoyers had, well, you can say sweet goodbyes.
That is one of the most horrible swings I think I've ever seen go against Buff Enjoyers, where usually they're good, even when they're losing, Jason, of making it your reasonable loss. To lose both Urn and get just crunched in middle when you have a soul lead is just not something you see happen very often. But this puts Abraham's not only back into the game, Jason, it's going to put Abraham's in the lead.
Your spirit will be forged.
And it was going so well for Buff Enjoyers. Tass at 20,000 souls. Jamside at 24. ABL starting to finally catch up, but Saint is falling behind at only 13, but it's not really going to matter at the moment with that fantastic turnaround. And Buff Enjoyers, you can't really afford to go for a fight anymore, at least for now, while these rejuves are still up for Abraham's. A Walker would be a tasty morsel that would go so well with some Charlie gummy worms. But it's not to be had right now, and there's really no chance to go for it anytime soon.
You know, as you say that, Jason, I'm looking at my bag of Trolley and I'm just going, do I go for another? And realistically, if I keep looking at it like that, there's not going to be many left. Is where
we got like
the
15 bags. If you're almost out after 15 bags, that's not good.
I mean, it's really good while you're eating, is what I'll say. But it's not good when you need to have the worms on camera for production. Right-hand side, though.
I always want you to show your worm, ZP. Just the blue one. All right, continue with Infernus talks. Don't make it weird, Kaplan.
Onto the left side we go. Telekinesis now out. Looking to grab Zergy. Can you get Zergy in the period? You do. And, you know, Fermina, as good as she is at escaping, if you actually land Telekinesis, that period of time where she's silenced, more than enough to take her out. Pretty fragile, Jason.
Yeah. I mean, especially if you're very low on souls, the lowest in the game. Doorman's going to be pushed on. The rescue beam's being picked up here too. A nice little knockback on the list to keep him away from your team with the Aura of Suffering. But he's going to continue to charge forward without Walker already being taken. The Urn's being ran while all this is happening. And if they can actually pick up kills on the Buff Enjoyers and get the Urn turn, this would be a massive W for Abraham's. And Listic, you've already been killed once. You're going to be finished off a second time. And I think Abraham's, I think they just almost turned this into a map 3.
This is a massive swing. I mean, it starts at mid-boss and continues with a team fight while you still have Rejuve. Yeah, Saint ends up going down, but the way I see it, Paige has been the sacrifice, both in game 1 and now game 2. You don't really care if your Paige goes down first, if she's the one that's already gone off her ult, already gone off her shielding. If you're putting resources in on the Paige, when she's already used most of her abilities, you're actually okay with that, team-wise. As ABL now, a GT that's ahead of the game just becomes the I will delete you character. And BE is getting the business end of that right now, Jason.
Yeah, this is tough times just to think back. If you don't go for mid-boss there, honestly, there was kind of like 2 big mistakes made in this series so far. Like Buff Enjoyers, when they initially had Urn and then they went for mid-boss and then they ended up getting nothing and Abraham's were able to pick up mid-boss. That was a very, I think, big mistake. And then here, going for it yet again, thinking Abraham's wasn't going to contest it, because typically in this matchup, Buff Enjoyers were able to get away with plays like that when they know the enemy team is running the Urn. But the contest comes through. They win it out really heavy-handedly with the help of Saf, mostly. And now Buff Enjoyers being punished in a very risky situation.
Sleep connecting here on the jam side into bullet dance is gonna be enough to take that jam side. Goes up, over, and no, not quite able to break the line of sight with the acrobatics. Final Rejuve crystal is gone, but Abraham's still firmly ahead. This is going to turn into a bigger team fight. Saf right now is looking around going, you know, maybe time to extend a hotel invitation here. Throws out the call bell. Things get a little bit hot and heavy. And is this the fight Buff Enjoyers wants to take right now? I feel like the answer, Jason, is no.
Yeah, should be no. You can see Abrahams, they're all on the high ground too. They have all the information where everyone is. They can strike when they want to. Like a very smart play for both teams. Well, I guess more importantly for Buff Enjoyers to back away off of this one. Look at Obi Kim now again going towards the gun build as well. So no real true support on their side that we've seen in the past. This is tough. I mean, the thing is, even with Abrahams having such dominating play the last, what, 5 minutes of time, and the fact that they're 14k ahead, I still don't feel necessarily 100% confident that they really have this game won, or that they're fully in the driver's seat, even though I kind of did say about a map 3 earlier on. I think Buffers have been doing a great job of fighting from behind, like team fighting from behind in particular.
I think the problem is, though, is that you have an even soul Mina against an even soul GT in this case, and you have a Wraith that's ahead of the game. A lot of, like, Zergy at this point, if you're even as a Mina versus this sort of hero comp, you go from a hero that can get out of very difficult situations while bursting people down to a hero that doesn't get out of difficult situations, that dies in 2 charged shot hits from the GT instead. I think a lot of the break points for how these fights would go down just go so against Buff Enjoyers now that effectively, I think their destiny is not in their own hands anymore. They're relying on Abrahams to make a mistake, probably in losing a team fight or getting an unneeded pick right before mid-boss. But short of Buff Enjoyers able to create a scenario where they get mid-boss, I don't think they can come back.
Oh my god, what an amazing play here out of Saf to knock Hu completely away without a chance to get him with the combustion. You can see the Buff Enjoyers are looking for the opportunity to pull off a kill, or to pull off a fight, I should say. Jamside's at 31,000 souls, just FYI. He is so far ahead, constantly farming away. I don't know if Buff Enjoyers have a solid answer for him unless they can catch him with a sleep dart into, or sleep dagger, damn it, into a silence wave like they did before with Demov. But he's also been able to get, was that spiritual overflow, if I'm not mistaken. Be even harder to kill now.
I think you have to ask yourself when you look at the Buff Enjoyers comp is, what does a pick look like for Buff Enjoyers? And the pick options are kind of not great, realistically. I mean, maybe you get a good engage from Hoot on the concussive combustion. Maybe Listic is able to run someone down, but Listic isn't ahead enough in the game to be in the ideal victor mode of just running at people and living to tell the tale.
Yeah.
Like, that's a problem for me for BE. For the comp they have, they're not good at engaging when they're behind. And Abrahams is not only really good at engaging even if they were behind, but they're also able to sort of stat check Buff Enjoyers in the ways that they would like to fight. So you have to look for some sort of rotation that just gives BE an incredible engage.
And the fortunate part for them as well is that Listic was in that situation to just run at them in the beginning of the game because of how strong the start was. But he's fallen, you know, I don't want to say fallen behind, but he hasn't maintained that same curve of income that he had before. Obviously, you have to kind of give things over to your teammates, especially when you're ahead of everyone else. Like Zergy's going to need the farm. I mean, Obi Kim, definitely give him the farm now with how his Ivy's currently sitting at 30k. So he's not necessarily that front line for them that they had before previously. And with what Jamside has, I mean, I just don't think Listic's ever going to be tanky enough to deal with Jamside anymore, especially with ABL popping off shots, not to mention the protection they have out of Saf and Tass and Saint. But yeah, I completely agree. This is going to be, I think, very tough for Buff Enjoyers to get a fight that they can win pretty heavily, or even just to pull off the pick that they can use to snowball into a fight.
Also, you got a lane fixing owl just coming on out here. I say fixing, it's more like a lane dominating owl that's just making that lane even more of a problem for Buff Enjoyers right before an earn fight takes place. And again, if you're BE, you think about the long range poke you're going to take here from the GT. I don't think you love contesting earn. You're going to get even further behind if you don't contest earn, but nothing about this fight feels great for BE to go into, but you have a concussive combustion coming on in from Hoot, but the actual soul urn not going to be contested, just trying to get Jamside on the outskirts. They get together, and in fact, Abrahams, they overextend a little bit while the rest of the team is worrying about the urn, so 2 picks thrown away. BE now able to chase down, take advantage of the misplay. 3 down here, Jason, and Abrahams may have just let BE back into the game.
How do they come back into this? Like, Obikim and Zergy weren't even there. They were pushing out the right-hand lane, and yet it's currently a 3-0 exchange. Mid-boss, it's up, and I think Buff Majors, they want to lock it down this time. They still have to worry about Sap, but this was the gift they needed to get back in the game here, and this Soul Swing is going to go back in their favor, leaving this to no chance to make sure they have the damage, though we can see Sap is off to the side, and Sap, no one's going to check him.
Wait, Doorman.
Oh, the silence
Again,
wave.
looking for plays. Do they get at least one? Nope. All crystals going the way of Buff Enjoyers, and they make it Saf as a parting gift, who this time around does not get a luggage cart for any sort of shenanigans. And yeah, I mean, you're asking how that happened before. I mean, going for the urn, Abraham's just split up way too much. You had one person turning in the urn, another person securing it, and then 2 people deep dive and just go way too deep. And what a throw it is that gives Buff Enjoyers new life back into the game.
That silence wave, I think that was out of D-Mob, shut down any chance of a steal 2 out of Saf. So perfectly well placed and timed. And now Buff Majors are going to go on the snowball here. They take the base Guardians, getting another flex set unlocked. They still have 1 walker left to go to, and you sure as hell know they're going to lock this one down. And now they're in the lead in souls. All it took was just 1 mistake out of Abrahams, and Buff Majors punish.
You take a look at this. The upside for Abrahams is you're still going to be able to fight evenly. The downside is that Buff Enjoyers now has a lot of favorable win conditions back on in. And you take a look at the rejuve time. They've still got 75% remaining here, Jason. So they're going to take their time, get the jungle, and then slam into the Abrahams base when it's down to about 33% left, is my guess. Maybe a little bit sooner if they feel the need. But there's going to be one big fight that Abrahams is going to have to defend, and defending against even a 3 crystal rejuve, it's difficult, especially if you don't get a pick beforehand.
Well, Jamside needs to not die. A rescue beam saving his life here. And there's a Pronounced swap. I think that's on to Obikim. So they're going to get 1 credit off of this, and there's really no saving him either. There's no position on any of his teammates to help him out. And he's surviving for a long bit of time here with the help of the stone form, but you're talking about coming back in, farming the jungle, and then slamming it to Abrahams like you slammed that first bag of Charlie Gummy Worms. It looks like that will be a little bit delayed here.
Not as enjoyable of a slam as the trolley bag in that case for Buff Enjoyers, where losing Obikim and a rejuve charge, actually kind of worst case scenario. Now, okay, Listic getting sent over. They're coming in here for the fall through. Can they deny the jump pad? No, they cannot deny the jump pad. Listic was a little bit too close. I don't know how deep you want to chase down on this, especially given it's Victor, he's jump starting. But this also buys a lot of time. There's only 2 rejuve crystals left. A lot of the remaining time, which is about 25%, is going to be eaten by waiting for Obikim to respawn. I mean, really, that pick on the Obikim, Jason, took a lot of the teeth out of this rejuve push.
Yeah. I mean, at least it gives some safety to farm up this jungle. They obviously have to be respectful of Abrahams if they catch you out. An owl coming through. I'm not sure if that's to fix a wave or if that's just to see some things, and it actually does fix out the mid lane. Maybe he's been able to, I wanted to say catch up a bit. I mean, Saint down at 22,000 souls. Jamside still at 41,000. And ABL at 33. I obviously like, I think still a lot of these fights are going to come down to, can you catch Jamside? And I know we've talked about this in the past. I know we've had a game where he was playing Wraith and he was like 20k ahead of the rest of his team. And I remember, I think it actually was Buff Enjoyers just diving into him, giving him no chance to actually use those souls to his advantage. I'm not sure if you remember the game I'm thinking of in particular, but it was on the old map.
Yeah, it was a long time in the past, but also I think Jamside was a much weaker player back then. That was kind of where the meme was like Jamside would farm the entire game and do nothing. True. And Jamside's like a lot better at making his presence known nowadays, but urn rotation progress, and this is kind of the sacrifice here, the last little bit of rejuve, using it for urn turn in, but things are getting hot and heavy outside that. Wait, into the Baron as it goes, and the urn pickup coming on in for Obikim coming in from Saf at the same time, ends up getting it. That is a ridiculous steal, but while this is going on, Jamside ends up falling, so Abrahams, they lose 2, now 3 people in exchange for the urn steal, and this could have serious ramifications for the base.
I think that's stage 1 patron for sure. The rejuve is already gone, yes, but the players' lives of Abrahams are gone as well. It's just down to ABL by himself. His Beffingers are already in the base, actually. They're already going to be going for that first stage patron after these shrines do fall. Is there a world they actually try to close it out now? Demov doesn't have a lot of HP.
I think you can, because this is only going to take 30 seconds away from the respawn times. I think you can just all in on the core here, and Abraham's not going to be able to do much about it, because look at who's going to be up. You're going to have the page up. You're going to have ABL up. You say, screw it. You end it here and now. Buff Enjoyers on the verge of being champions once more. They are committing to the all-in. Do they have what it takes? Noxostra comes out, and that patron is gone. Buff Enjoyers complete the comeback. They win the series 2-0.
Oh, here he is.
3 weeks in a row, Puckett. 3 weeks in a row. It feels like it's been a very long time since we've been able to say that we have one clear dominant team in EU. But I think it's the undisputed Buff Enjoyers now.
Getting it done once again, and just when everyone thought we weren't going to see a 2-0 sweep, we thought we were going to see a game 3. What happened at 25:30? All of a sudden, there was a big moment in the game that flipped things around. ZP, was it a team fight? You mentioned there was an urn. Was it someone out of position? Where did the Abrahams throw it?
It was Abraham's trying to make space for the urn turn in, where they did successfully create space for Taz to turn in the urn, but they weren't all on the same page for the actual team fight to follow. They end up being out of position to where they give up 2 picks to a Buff Enjoyers team that was in a really weak spot, and those 2 picks just snowball into mid-boss, into more objectives, into a game state that eventually was not recoverable for Abraham. So, you know, as we kind of set up, they needed a positioning error to get back into the game, and they capitalized when one happened.
She got nerfed, and she still did that low 2 from our staff, losing his mind towards the end. Fantastic performance from the Enjoyers. ZP, we got to get you some shades to celebrate that one.
Yeah, it's true. Honestly, I may have a pair somewhere, but I just don't know where offhand.
All right. Don't worry. Somebody in chat works for a sunglass company. We're gonna hook you up with the good stuff. Here we go, though. The goodies.
The Ray-Ban Invitational coming up.
There we go. Brought to you by Oakley. Let's take a look here at some great talent. People are saying he's annoying. Is great talent still great? Goated?
I mean,
not the case tonight.
I don't know. I think this is a tough game to really judge it on. Like, ABL had some decent impact at the beginning, getting like 2 owl kills for the +10. I think he kind of was I don't know. He kind of engaged in a lot of fights early on instead of focusing on farming. And they allowed Jamside to continue to farm instead. And he kind of, I don't know, ZP. I'm not really sold that he's out of the mix. I think it was just the way it was played in this game that made him not look as impactful.
I don't know. I think ABL was doing what he needed to do on the GT throughout most of the game, and it did end up leading to a really, good circumstance. They just had a rough throw, but here was the mid fight that ends up giving Abrahams a big advantage for a while. You see the cart come in and the spirit snare, and Abrahams had to get here, by the way, under duress. They had turned in the urn. It was a rough rotation, and they still made it and ends up winning the fight. That should have been a game-losing mistake from Buff Enjoyers, but one good throw deserves another. Look at the minimap here. Look at where people are positioned as the first pickoffs come on in, as Jamside gets picked off with together the 2 picks that spelled the beginning of the end for Abrahams.
The Mina play that everyone enjoys. Zergy with the pop-off performance in game number 1 on the trackball. Looked maybe even better game 2. Kaplan, what was his stronger performance?
I don't think it was his Mina that gave him the game here. I think it was definitely in the first game when he was on his Wraith. I think he looked a little bit better. There's a lot more impactful. I don't know if that's, I would say impactful, but I feel like he looked stronger. I think this was more about Hoot having some really good impact, Holistic creating some space, and Obi Kim doing a bunch of damage. I think Zergy solid all around for sure, but I don't think necessarily it was him carrying the game, as you can see here.
And we go back to hating on Paige. Paige, one win on night shift ever. On the other side, Listic and Victor get another W alongside Zergy on the Mina. Hoot also very impactful, as you mentioned, but who do you give the MVP honors? I see you guys arguing in Discord. Did you decide on a final answer, ZP?
You know, I wasn't even aware of the argument going on in Discord, but from the eye test without any other input and where we're at here, I think to me it would be between probably Hoot and Listic here today. I mean, it's kind of difficult in the second game because it was more of a team effort all in all. I also even think you could make a case for Sherrick back in game one of just being a sacrificial Page that was able to just make the hero look really good, even though every team fight was Sherrick dying first. Job was still well done.
If you look through the builds, anything that stands out to you that you want to call out, Kaplan, one of the coolest things you guys have been working on is taking some of the builds from our pros and making TikTok content.
Bro, I cannot see through these sunglasses. Maybe the blood tributes. Like, we've seen 2 blood tributes being picked up, one for Jam side and one for Obikim. And then we've also seen Alchemical Flask come into the mix as well. I think we had Lightbringer on a graveyard shift 2 weeks ago on a Friday. And he was saying that Alchemical Flask is probably one of the most underrated items right now, and how strong it can be, especially with like the change to bullet damage kind of being a primary source of damage for teams later on in these games.
Great call outs. We got Hoot coming by for an interview in just a moment. You got questions for the man? Drop them in the chat. Reminder, you can play Hoot and Friends if you're from the EU in just 2 weeks. The Trolley Night Shift combo is coming your way, and you can sign up for our open portion of the competition. Hoot and Friends will be invited, of course, to the later portion. Kappa, what do you got for me?
Okay, read the corner.
Oh. Is that another 20? Is that another 20? Enjoy.
My God,
settle down, my guy.
Another 20.
I just double checked. I was like, hey, you're not like risking rent or anything, right? We good? He's like, nah, I just love this product. Want to support you guys. Rent taken care of. So enjoy stuff. We enjoy your presence. We appreciate the gifted. Also, we got up to 2,400 viewers. I think that was a peak on the night over on twitch.tv. At the same time, we are at 1,800 over on YouTube. So spread the word. We're getting bigger every single week. And it's like performances like this that bring you guys back. Here it is. It's your MVP. Let's take a look. I don't know who they decided on, but I think it's a good fit for Infernus and Hoot. 6 kills, 2 deaths, 13 assists. He was a team player. Walk me through his performance. What did he show you throughout these 2 games for the EU title in Week 9, ZP?
Yeah, I mean, again, I think when you talk about ways that Buff and Joyers stayed on top, you can't overstate how important it was that when KLS decided to take a step back, that they grabbed Hoot, who is probably one of the very best options they could have had, both in just natural skill, natural adaptiveness, but also the fact is that Hoot's pocket back on game 1 was so disruptive that it also changed the draft into game 2, where Abrahams basically said, okay, under no circumstances are we going to allow Hoot to play the pocket once again. And onto the Infernus, I mean, Hoot has just been remarkably stable. And the fact that he's been stable on Infernus means that you free up Zergy spend more time and play the Mina, that you can have, Zergy kind of branch out a little bit, because Hoot could say, yeah, I can also play the sort of carry roles that we'd normally put Zergy on. So, I mean, how Hoot's consistency and ability to kind of slot into whatever role that's needed has just been one of the key defining elements of Buff and Joyers being on the spree of excellence.
I think, though, for Buff and Joyers with Hoot, maybe we can ask him this if we have him for an interview, is that I don't think Michaelis would have necessarily played the same or had the same flexibility that Hoot has in terms of his hero pool. I know Michaelis could play quite a few different heroes, but he was definitely like more paradox oriented. I think Hoot gives him that little bit of additional flexibility that maybe Michaelis didn't have, but at the same time, it also weakens him a little bit, because I don't think anyone on the team, like D-Mob, does not play Paradox as well as Michaelis does. No one on that team played Paradox as well as Michaelis, but luckily for them, Paradox hasn't really been the #1 go-to hero every time.
Hoot getting some love in the chat. Thank you to everyone reusing your Prime. Reminder, you got to do it every single month. Amazon wants to make it as hard as possible for you to take their money and give it to us. We appreciate your efforts, and we appreciate our MVP. In just a moment, we're going to be joined by the one and only Hoot on the microphone. So if you've got a question for one of EU's best streamers, put it in the chat right now. My question is, when is Bebop going to be on top once again? I saw him streaming it. What's the new? ZP, you have any insight to the EU flow? What's everyone busting out? Is it just Mirage this week?
McGinnis.
You know, in terms of EU and what we're expecting, this, you know, obviously we just saw EU. In terms of what we're going to see for NA coming forward, you know, I don't know. I think Mirage is going to be played a little bit more in NA, and by comparison, do we see McGinnis? No, not unless Naked has figured things out. The one and only McGinnis hero going back to the beginning of Deadlock. But when Naked still can't figure out McGinnis, I don't know if it's going to happen to anyone else.
I worry though, NA. They're always like a week or two behind when it comes to the meta. It took them like an additional week or two to start picking up Veil Walker like crazy. I don't know what they've adapted to with the latest patch.
He's here.
You don't have to worry about that right now. We've got Hoot join us live. Hoot, congratulations. Another $1,000 in your pockets. What's it like to be the best team in all of Deadlock?
It feels good. We're ready to win this next tournament as well. The big tournament.
So this is some huge news. So Trolley coming in, they upped the prize pool to $20,000. That's $10K for NA, $10K for EU. And also, we already see that 9 teams have signed up since we went live on tonight's show. So you're going to have more competition than ever. Do you think there's any new players or new teams to look out for coming into the tournament in 2 weeks?
I'm not sure about team. Or there is one team that is currently in the making with some one win players. They've started to band together, but I've seen some good players in normal pubs. So it'll be interesting to see if they actually form teams and play.
Kaplan, all yours.
Hoot, I have a really serious question that I've actually seen asked in chat quite a few times. I need to hit you up with. What is it like being one of the most good-looking Deadlock players ever?
Why do we always come back to my looks, Jason? Why is it always you that ask those questions?
I can appreciate beauty in all forms, okay?
He's an artist. Just don't let him draw you.
Feels good. I know I'm Jason's number one lover. Feels good.
Stop tier.
Oh.
Can we ask about your gameplay? What do you think you do better than everyone else right now? Because you're a special creature. You're always someone that's in the MVP conversation, regardless of how your team finishes.
I think I would like to think I play a lot for the team and like really try and I don't mind playing on low economy or high economy. I'm just gonna I'm gonna go suicide into the walker if I have to. I don't care. I'm gonna kill it just for the team.
I always feel like you don't need motivation there. It's just like almost the impression is like, guys, do I need the go suicide in the walker now? It's like, no, we're fine. It's like, no, but guys, I really want to. Like, I need to do this for the team. Like, let me just throw myself into the walker.
Yeah,
that's the impression I'm getting from you right now, Hoot.
And then Furnace is especially good for that. He absolutely shreds the walkers.
Hoot, I've had a lot of people talking about this game that haven't been playing Deadlock yet. If they're looking to get their hands on it, what are your pro tips? What do you want to get started on? And I know you're streaming constantly, so what do I want to try and learn by watching pros like yourself?
I think the biggest part of this game is the movement system. If you can learn the movement system, like everything else will come naturally. So if you put good time into movements, you'll 100% rank up. Because I'd say it's the biggest part.
And we saw the sneaky golems forced Hydra Nation to explode. Do you think you have the Abrahams in a similar position?
No, they're not gonna disband. They're good at the game.
This rivalry is too good to end right here. You guys are up big on them, though, after tonight's win. We'll let you go celebrate with the team.
What? No, don't leave yet.
Oh.
I have a
you want more? Go ahead, Kaplan. Get weird with it.
I also have a question. You first.
Again, a very serious question here, okay?
Uh-oh.
When a new patch comes out, like we just had happen last week, as a team, what do you focus on when adapting your style? Like, how do you go about processing the patch that's happened internally within the team, and then how do you like figure out where you want to go with what you play going into like that week's scrims, then eventually into that week's night shift?
Yeah, I mean, the first, like right when the patch drops, we just try to see what's getting nerfed and seeing like what we can replace that hero with, if it needs replacement. And we just try and experiment with like 1 to 3 heroes every scrim, and just see how they actually play. And we've got good success with it.
So
you can test up to 3 heroes at once?
No, maybe not at once, but maybe like 2 heroes at once sometimes. But yeah, we're mostly focusing on nerfs, I'd say. Buffs are, I think usually it's there's just outlier heroes that are too strong, and the rest is like they're just good.
Okay.
And so if the strong heroes get nerfed, we just look at the good ones.
My question going in is that you guys had, in game 2, you guys were in a good spot. You had Abrahams basically having the turn in Urn on their own side, and you make the call, okay, they're turning Urn in on own side, let's go mid boss. And then not only do they contest mid boss, but they're able to just jam you with abilities to the point that you get completely rolled at mid boss. You give up every single rejuve charge. And realistically, if they don't make the positional throw at Urn later in the game, that could have lost you the game outright and forced to map 3. I guess from your perspective, I'm wondering, why did that mid boss go so poorly in the moment? Like, what was unexpected from them?
I don't think we weren't expecting them to go as hard on the mid boss, and we saw here after the game that they had counter spell as well on Paradox. Yeah. Which caused a big problem, but we also just used our buttons not as well as we could. We could have delayed some things after the counter spell. It should have been a lot easier, not as clumsy.
Hoot, final question: where can we watch more of your content?
You can watch me on HootDL on Twitch. I stream sometimes.
What's the DL stand for?
Times DLNS.
Dong Wong, baby. That is who he's got to go. We are going to a break. When we come back, it's North America. Just kidding. We got to show you a bunch of graphics and stuff. Kaplan, come on. We can't be PG all the time. Let's get a little spicy. It's the night shift here. We're in Italy, for gosh sakes. Look at our sunglasses. We're partying and stuff. ZP, North America has a graphic. Trolley has a graphic. Which one do you want to talk about first?
I think first off, we're going to talk about the schedule coming on up. It's Melee Creeps versus Chain Gang. That's right, the Baroness Hotel. They've retired for now, and NA has now split into new teams. You may be wondering, what happened to Hydra Nation? Hydra Nation's dead, but 3 of their members joined Rocker on Sneaky Golem. So the core of Hydra Nation, Hydration, AVG, and Rocane, they still exist now. Sneaky Golem. And that is why they have the Hydra Nation spot from last week. Melee Creeps, kind of back to a similar old Melee Creeps roster, but now plus DMB against Chain Gang. That would have been the same, except they have a sub coming in where Division has bad internet, and Rhino is now coming in for them. So, just another week, more NA roster mania, but, a lot of similar themes all the same.
If you're a North American player, now is the perfect time to get your competitive team together. Take advantage of the chaos. Hop on in and play in our Night Shift Trolley Open. It's going down with $10,000 on the line for NA, $10K up for Europe, and you can sign up at leaguetrolley.challenge.com. That's challenge with an O. You read it right. We didn't spell it wrong. It's a website for competitions. It's been around for a while, but if you don't play competitions, now you know about it, and it's really easy to sign up. There's also broadcast headsets on the worms on the left side of your screen, and we got a little break coming up. On the other side of it, ZP, answer this question. If you're an organ donor, right, you die and they take your organs, they put it in somebody else, but it was 50% of your body. Are you still you? Are you them? What is Hydra Nation now? We'll answer that on the other side of the break. Think about it, chat.